I keep getting distracted by Booba. Like, I know. Oh, what the?
6 months of the Zeeb titties.
Okay, that's a coincidence. Like, just getting distracted by Booba, and then Bone is just sort of like, 6 months of titties. Jesus. I'm almost done with getting everything. I forgot my water. Oh, I'm an idiot. I still forget things. Alrighty. I got my water. I'm gonna slap you here, and I'm gonna slap you here. No forgetting. Illegal? Well, yeah. Well, now I have it, so no, it's no longer forgetting now. It is now just, you know, it's as it always should have. It's retconning, I think, is what the fun word is.
Bone Masked Dog thinks you should do 15 squats.
There it is. There is a fucking squats manager. Alrighty, where am I in me? I'm almost done. I'm almost done. I'll get out of like this room, and then I'll get over into the proper whatsamahoozy thingy madiggy shortly. Alrighty, hopefully all this is working. Hey, and my pecs are bouncing. Hopefully it's not going to be bouncing forever. It's probably going to be bouncing forever. Hang on a second. I need to stop the titty bounce before I go on to do my, There we go. Alrighty. I now got to do my 15 squats for Bone. It has been a long time. It's been a week. Practically a week. Alrighty, here we go. Hello, Sky. Alright, I'm going to do 15 squats, and I'm going to need to say hello to some proper peeps. Can I get some hello in the chat? I want to hear Frank Walker saying hello to everyone. 1, 2.
Hello.
3, 4. Thank you. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
Friendly
14.
Pylon wanted you to
Hello.
say hello.
15. Thank you for the hellos, everyone. Alrighty, now I gotta go. Hello there. Now I gotta go and check the things. Also, look at, like, my leap motion thingy-majiggy normally would, like, be flipping itself in and out when doing my squats, but I could literally be like, okay, you guys probably couldn't see it, but like I was like leaning forward like a whole ton. I don't know how far. Hang on. Can my camera let me do the lean? Okay, I can't lean as far as I thought, but excuse me. All right, so yeah. I now have, like, my old housemate has printed for me a brand new leap motion holder / mount. So now this thing is, like, even if I disconnect the cable, like if I do that right now, and then I just, like, go. I am, like, shaking my chest left and right, up and down, and the leap motion is still in there, and I can just plug it back in. There we go. Alrighty. Okay, I need to scroll up. I need to see. So Angro got in first, which I think is a really big effing deal, considering normally he's... Ow. Normally he's at the end of our streams, but like he's at the start this time. We got Savage in the chat. Hello, Savage. Bone with the 6 months. Sky's in. Velk's in. Oh, Friendly Pylon! Hello, you bear. Renee's here. Do you have any idea how loudly I squealed when I saw you went live? I have no idea. Was it a really big squeal? Was it a squeal that scared your boyfriend? Wait, you have a boyfriend or is it a girlfriend? I know you have a partner. I'm trying to remember if it was a boyfriend or a girlfriend. I think it was a boyfriend. So, Sky's there again. Sky just turned 28 yesterday. Holy shit. Congratulations, Sky. You're just 2 years away from being called a gray muzzle in the furry community. Bone already did his 300 squats today, so I gotta catch up. And Chimera's here as well. Hello, Chimera. Time for Cactar Friends? No, we're not ready for Cactar Friends. Oh, but I did forget to change my shirt, actually, so you did remind me of something. Cactar, there we go. Now I'm in my appropriate attire, so this should be good. So yeah, all right, I need to get things sorted out. But yeah, ooh, bruh, don't remind me, lol. So yeah, if anyone's not like properly in the furry community and such like that, for some reason the gray muzzle, oh god, oh no, Urane, this is disgusting. No. I'm gonna have to deal with this himbo. Like, look at my arms. They're just So anywhoosies. So yeah. So in the furry community, they have this term for someone who's like 30 or over in the community. Not like, oh, they've been in the community for 30 years, but when they hit the age 30, they're called a gray muzzle of all things. 30's not even that old, and yet for some reason 30 is apparently that age where it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna associate you with like old age by calling you gray. So I'm also 28. I'm old as dirt. Urane's 29. I'm 29 as well. Couldn't wake up my boyfriend up if I tried because he's across the pond. Well, that's just selling yourself out. Sure, you could be screaming across like all the sound barriers, or you could try and, like, you know, call him and then scream. Alvarez is nearly 30. Why in the hell are we considering 30 old? I don't know, but that's what the furry community has decided. We're, like, the furry community is a really young a really young and immature community. I'm gonna be real with you sometimes. I don't know why they pick these ages, but they do. Anyway, sippies. Alrighty. Why in the hell are we considering? Oh man, won't be long for me. No, it won't be long for me. No, not the cactar! Not the cactar! I'm dead. Savage has killed me. I am now deaders. Deaders. Dead. Dead. Deddy. Alright, no, not anymore. Alright, be warned, I can de-himbo you again at any time. Oh, of course. Of course, people are saving up for de-himbos and maid outfits of all things. You could be putting your points into so many other things. You could be making me hyper himbo. You could be stealing my shirt, or doing a himbo can, or scanning the zebra, or forcing everyone to deal with an emote-only chat for 5 minutes, because that would be hilarious. Give me time, I'll hyper you. Excellent, thank you so much, Alvirus. Is any of my moderators in the chat just yet? No, alright, I'm gonna give Alvirus a shout out then, because I've seen them doing some streams a few times, and they do a lot of like streams where instead of subs, it's like they do they do like charities. Thanks for reminding me. I don't yet require warmth. It's hot as balls here in Australia. Like, I'm in Brisbane right now. I'm in Brisbane, and we're dealing with like 30-degree weather and such. We're gonna get down to like 25, 24 degrees next Friday at the very least. Also, why is my... Hang on. Do I have to turn on the lights at like the different area? Hang on. Oh, no. Oh, Savage, you had to do that to me? Did you really have to do that to me? I wanted hyper himbo. I didn't want you stealing my shirt. I look disgusting. Look at all these weird polygons. It's so weird. I don't yet know how to do a different, like, you know, blend, like, different material when the blend shape gets activated. Although there's probably a way to do it with the, you know, VC thingy-majiggy. Hey, a ghost single. What? Well then, yes. I'm practically a ghost with this kind of. Oh my god, what is up with my thumbs? Oh, it's terrible. Your balls dangle because they can't function if they're too hot. That's flawed English. Oh yeah, they do that. Like they dangle if it gets too hot. But no, so it's just been really hot in Brisbane. It's been like 30-degree weather for, what did they do to well, okay, they de-himboed me and then they stole my shirt, but now I'm okay. Now I got my muscles back. I am oh so fine. You look like a drained grate. What happened? Yes, someone de-himboed me and it makes me turn into a bit of a raisin, that's the word. Raisin. It happens to me sometimes. It's just because, you know, people de-himbo me and they think that's a worthwhile channel redeem to do, because I don't have that many channel redeems that are like, you know, crazy interactions and what have you. Although I will be real with you, at one point it would be nice to have, you know, maybe different kind of exercises or other interactions that can happen to my zebra. I know there's like a program called Meeps that does it, but I like my VTuber Plus because of the multiple camera angles I'm able to, you know, activate at the whim with WebSockets and what have you. And plus the fact that, you know, with the whole like you're either alive or you're dead thingy-majiggy, that gives me like it gives me a flag to, you know, wait for something to get hit, so then that way you get the fun text. A lot of background nonsense for why I'm still there. Oh, damn! 84% himbo chase? Where the fuck have you been hiding those muscles? Where have you been hiding them? Where have you been keeping those muscles? Take your shirt off. Alvir 75. God damn, we have a lot of himbos in here. Aw, Renee's like absolute fucking Q. Fucking magical girl expert here, just being all fancy and extra cuties. What a fucking cutie patootie. Such high levels. If you stare into their eyes for too long, I reckon they'll just like start, you know, sparkling and shit. Chimera, you need to put a profile icon on there, Chimera. 55% rainbow, and you need the profile icon. Oh, damn, Pylon. Hey, there's Savage. I see you. And I see you've used your new not emote, you've used a new image as well. Alvarez is nearly half thingy-majiggy, 35%. You're looking to redo your rating. Alvarez. So yeah, there's a lot of people are checking a lot of shit. Then we got Chase just being absolutely fucking cute. Also, my friend spelled me on late Christmas. Why are you like my friend? It's like, that's the point of Christmas, is if you can, it's less about receiving gifts and more about the means of being able to give gifts. Again, I don't really use my Twitch for anything. Highly recommend getting a profile icon at the very least, so then that way when situations like these occur. Wait, is my eyes not blinking? My eyes are not blinking. This is not what I wanted happening. Why have my eyes stopped? Settings, general. Receive head movements? No, I don't want to receive head movements. Why? Okay, something... Give me a second. What is going... Okay, so the phone's thingy-majiggy is one thing. Streaming settings. Other compatible with iOfficial, no. Why is... Under... Studio... Other... Back... Alright, hang on a second. Select the soft... Okay, hang on. CM... I have to do some All right. Where am I IP address wise? Why is it saying 3? No, not 3. 11. It was correct previously. How long have I just been looking at you guys, like, unflinchingly, like, blinking and shit like that? Like, holy crap. Alrighty. That should be better. Alright. And then I just need to, hang on. Alright, sit up straight, and then do... dink. This. Alright, there we go. Alright, that should be a little bit better. Too much caffeine. I haven't had enough caffeine. Hold... Himbo Zebra holds other himbos hostage unless they lose their shirts. Look, some himbos just don't even have shirts full stop. Like, look at Angrel just having like a whatsamahoozy. They just have an apron. That's not a shirt. You done broke the damn VTuber I didn't break the VTuber model. I broke I broke the AR kit facial mocap thing, because what I have now is I have a new, it's not brand new, but it's a new to me. My grandfather got like an iPhone upgrade, and so he gave me his old iPhone that is compatible with like AR kits. So rather than having to keep using my personal phone, which gets notifications and all that kind of such, I now have like just this one iPhone that's now permanently connected to my PC, like for charging sake, and then it, you know, will get, and then I just tell it like the IP address and all this kind of such. But yeah, now I can blink, and I can have like my little, like, you know, cross look, because like I feel like resting, like my resting face, unfortunately my eyebrows are just naturally drooped, so it's like this. Let me just crank my neck. There we go. My God, so many people checked so many other things. It's like a shirt, sorta. It's an apron. That's not a shirt. Aprons are like just for the front. They do nothing for the back. If I keep the zebra titties out at all times, I would. Lol. A lot of VTubers have been having models and setup issues. Yeah, that's just par with the course. Like, we no longer are like idiot streamers that leave ourselves muted or something like that for too long, or accidentally unmute ourselves when we're doing like proper talks. But boobies! Now, because we're all, thank you, Urine, for the boobies. Now that we're all, like, you know, proper streamers and such like that, doing the VTuber side, it's now just all kinds of new problems. So, it's one of those kinds of, like, fun little issues where it's like, oh, your face rigging is weird, or maybe the lip syncing is off, or maybe, you know, you don't have a costume for this, you know, really quick, cheap event, but now you have to like spend a weekend and trying to get it set up, but then it takes several weekends. Apron, do you want what in the coffee? What the heck? No, don't worry, Aaron Daho. Also, hi, Aaron Daho. Anyway, brought a bunch of anime guns before season 1. Okay, so that was your thing. So COD points. Good. And he was going crazy on the. All right, I now need to catch up on different messages and such like that. But yeah, so we're now properly into, like, you know, 2023 this time. So this isn't going to be like a silly stream where I'm only live for like an hour or two or something, or rather I'm actually going to be like online and live for like, you know, my normal 3-hour sort of stint, because we're going to be going through more Final Fantasy 14, because, you know, this is what Saturday nights are for, is Final Fantasy 14, and I do it in the evenings rather than the mornings, because sometimes I have to work on a Saturday, and I want to make this, you know, the Saturday a regular thing. So the best way to avoid, you know, schedule, like, you know, wishy-washy kind of nonsense is just guarantee Saturday night to being an evening stream. I'm not going to make it like a morning stream as, like, you know, however many times, and then the one time I have to go in on a Saturday say, oh, we're changing it to an evening or something like that. And that, because, like, I don't want to have the scenario of Saturdays being, oh, it can be in the morning majorly, or it could be in the afternoon/evenings, or it couldn't happen at all. I'd rather just have it's happening in the evenings, or it's not happening. I'd rather just leave it to those two, because 3's a crowd. When you have, like, 3 different slots you could pick for a day. Heck yeah, 14, yep. Soup, salad, or kitchen. Chicken. I'll have chicken. Zeebs, do you do your homework in an apron? And I mean just the apron. No, I don't do my housework in an apron. I do my housework. I can actually distinctly remember this. I did my housework in a pair of not khaki, sorry, chino? Yeah. Chino shorts, sandals, and an old shirt, and it has written on it, and it's got a raccoon and it's got a ferret, I want to say. It's got like these two like garbage eating creatures, and it says live fast, eat trash. I really love it. Zeebs and booty shorts. I don't have booty shorts. I just have shorts. Booty shorts are just underpants, quite frankly. It's like denim underpants. I don't need that. Denim needs to go beyond the jeans and beyond the knees. Sorry, not the jeans. But that's why they call them jeans, I reckon, is because it sounds similar to knees. All right. Renee gives a little back bends, and we got to go into our little stream right over here. And I just realized game source. Why is the game source? All right, keep that hidden, and then source PC capture. You love your skinny jeans? I used to like skinny jeans, but then, you know, as the years went on and I stopped being under 80 kilos, I just started getting bigger and bigger jeans until at one point I got up to like a 42-inch waist or something like that, and I didn't like where my body was at. So then I, you know, started making efforts to lose weight. And that's been a very fun journey to try and do. You gain too much cake. I do want to, like, I will be real with you. I do want to, like, I want to lose weight, but I want to gain cake, okay? Like, if I can, I would like to, like, you know, try and get as much of, like, the belly and like, you know, chest, neck, chin, kind of, like, I want, like, a lot of the torso, I want to, like, cut out the fat and such like that, and maybe, and then, you know, shape the thighs and the arms, and then, you know, give myself a cake ass, because I feel like that, like, for guys, it's like either you like just from my observation and such like that, is you either have a partner that likes the kink or the body type, or you try and hit the best of like what everyone wants. And like for most people don't like men with big boobs. It's not that's not like a, sure, there's titty boys out there that everyone loves. I personally am amazed by the art that you see of 3D renders and 2Ds of the titty boy. Booster Pang is a very obvious artist who has done that kind of thing. Go for them. And then unnamed arts, I can't remember their proper name. They've done titty boy as well, but to be fair, they just do really good titty. But in the real world, not everyone likes a titty boy. What they do like, however, is one of those like slim, like those slimmin' like Hemsworth, where it's like a Dorito chip kind of thing. So like they kind of want the wide in like, you know, the shoulders. So they want broad, but they don't want, you know, they don't want depth to the man. They want like a washboard in the abdominal region. But if there's a place where men can get volume, it's in the ass. They're allowed to get a little bit of cake. They're not going to get as much cake as a woman would get, I feel. But I feel like that's, you know, just because of, you know, the biology or what have you. Because, like, men are getting, like, huge amounts of testosterone most often. And so, like, for a very long time, I'm just not going to get that. Women with the estrogen. Point is, cake. Everyone likes cake. Cakes have layers. Thank you for the hyper himbo there, Psycho Fox. And of course, Erne has to go and steal my shirt. My fiance loves it. Cut it out. Doesn't that seem a bit extreme and violent? Oh, like not cut it out, but like, you know, shrink it down, burn it off, what have you. Out here shaming me and my titties. Look, women, like, women can have titties. I think the volume on men is also highly appreciate in the penis. I've heard mixed thingy-madiggies about it, all right? It's one of those kinds of things where some people have said it's not the size of the ship, it's the motion of the ocean. But then there's also other things where it's like, look, you need to get at least 4 inches, and you need to know what you're doing in, like, that 4 to 5 inch mark, because apparently that's, like, where like, you know, the erogenous zone, like the most sensitive erogenous zone is or something, is in between like the 4 to 5. The cactar is out of stock? What do you mean the cactar is out of stock? That's not a thing. That's not a thing, unless it's just been paused temporarily. Give me a moment. Cactar attack. Let's have a look. There's no maximum there's no maximum on per stream or per user. There's just a, you know, a 6 minute cooldown or something, or rather. Like, give me a second. If I click on the cactar from my side, which, because it's like a fairly expensive, it's available. Maybe you just need to refresh your thingy-majiggy, chimera. Girth over length, that too. Like, but, you know, people want cake to cuddle over them. I feel like here's the thing I've figured and such like that is like most of the peeps that talk about like, oh, they like a little bit of chub on their man or what have you, they're already in the relationship and such like that. I feel like it's not about the man with the like the softness at the start. It's the fact that they can get softness once they're with the woman. Or in the relationship, I should say, because it's not only women that, you know, might want softness in their partner and, you know, being able to hug them and such like that. So I feel like it's less about them having it at the start, but more about that they can be, you know, molded into such a thing. God damn it, Chimera. What a great time to have an ad of Taco Bell. I'm sorry you have to deal with advertisement, Psycho Fox, but as the chat message mentions, it's used to... Oh wait, it doesn't explain why I do advertise. If you don't like... It just I just have it as like extra short of like, oh, if you don't like seeing it, please subscribe to support the streamer directly. Because here's the thing. Advertisements at like, you know, regular intervals and such like that, like it helps a little bit of the small time streamer, because what happens is that once there's an advertisement that goes off, you have like this sort of pre-rolls are off thing, and for 30 seconds that's 30 minutes, which is a lot of time for people to just sort of like sit in there, you know, take a quick second and be like, all right, is this browsing validated? Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Where the fuck am I going? Ooh, bunny girl. Oh, cool skirt, but like, ooh, wait, hang on, enhance. Awesome. All right, Zeebs finishes a take, and he's got a cactar after nature is healing. Back to awesome, with thickness in both men and women. Thick thighs. They like, yeah. Here's the thing: is like we like applicable thickness. So, and being like just, you know, belly fat isn't applicable now, because it's no longer a symbolism of like wealth like it was back in the times. Because back in the day, people used to like the belly because that was a symbol of wealth and comfort, which is a thing most people didn't get to have in the 1800s. But then in the 1900s, like, you know, the 20s, the 10s, and what have you, we were starting to have people be able to be comfortable without that, you know, excessive wealth and consumption. So yeah. What the fuck am I doing? Okay, I need to speak to someone in Ishgard. Deliver the bottle of mulled wine to the title strict noble. Enter the void arc. Enter the eyes of chaos. Okay, so it looks like equipped and enter the keeper of the lake. Oh yeah, because I'm using the animated Deathbringer. So applicable thickness. Yes, you can quote me on that one. I've actually updated the quoting system as well. So one of the things I did, like, I did it like before the previous stream as well, but I didn't like properly explain myself. But one of the things I did for the quote system is I've actually made a Discord webhook for it. So anytime there is a new quote added...
Quote 80. I hate to do this, but you leave me no choice. Die.
So... for the first 230 quotes, I'll need to figure out if I can, like, you know, just... Actually, you know what I should do is at least put the... Give me a second. I just realized I should probably do this before a new quote is added.
Quote 123.
Where is it?
You need only ass?
You need only ass. Exactly. All right. Where's my quotes? Quotes. Quotes.data. Open with a text editor. Hopefully this isn't going to be a terrible format. I can just simply copy in. Hells yeah! Alrighty, so I got a whole system of quotes.
Quote 69. Nice.
Nice. Alrighty, okay, I don't... What's the character limit? Shit. Okay, let's start with the first... Alright, 3, 4, 5... Ding. Auto-detect. It doesn't detect... It should be able to detect that it's just the fact that it's a JSON of all things. Alright, let's go for the first 100 quotes and see if that will... Control C, Control V. Nope, first 100 won't do. Control F, 50. Let's see if the first 50 are okay. Nope. Control F, 10. First 9. Ah! Or this better not be a case of like, oh, you can't just copy and paste from in here because it'll just make it... There we go. Okay. It looks messy as F. Thank you for clipping applicable thickness. Hi, there's Wild Saber. There's a game coming out soon called Small Land, where you play a race of fairy creatures in the lap of Microsoft. Awesome! Sorry, I just had to, like, read that half quickly as I'm, like, you know... Because there was a part of me, like, that I was going to try and put, like, my old quotes in the Discord, chat thingy-madiggy, but I don't really have a good way of doing it. Unless... No. I thought I would have a clever way, but I don't think so. I'll just need to figure... Like, I'll probably, like, figure out with Discord code or something like that of, like, oh, if you just want to, like, send a message and it's just based off of, like, all these different thingy-madiggies and send off that. I'll find a way to do it locally, so then that way, once I do find that way, I can then just project. So then that way there's at least a chat room in Discord with, like, the 200-plus quotes that are in my system. 230. Hang on. Let me get a... There's been a lot of quotes in the past. A lot. Settings, quotes. Some of them I've had to remove and such like that, but since last year, actually, 265 quotes were submitted. So, yeah. The first one started, like, near the end of January in 2020. Sorry, 2022. That was my test one where it's like, oh, as a VIP, you should have power. What the fuck am I doing here? Hi there, Ali! Welcome to the stream! I hope you're doing alright. How are things? It has been a while. It has been a very long while. I am getting myself consistently distracted by all this nonsense. Hang on a sec. I need to head to the Foundation. There are quests that I need to do, and I think there's a new, like, side quest thingy-majiggy I can also be doing as well. COVID. Oh, fuck! Shit! I'm sorry you had to get that. Damn. Why do people get the spiky cough? Alright, so... That is over near the Astronomicon. All I know is there's gonna be a Shonen Jump MOBA coming from China, and it looks decent. I like Jump comics, but I tried playing their quote-unquote Jump Force a while ago, and... I don't know, fighting games don't sit with me too often. I tell myself this, despite the fact that I hear Street Fighter 6 is coming out. It looks very fun, and I'm like, you know what? I will give it a try, because worst case scenario, Code is going to want me to play it. And then I don't want to disappoint him. Alright, title stripped noble. Here, I need to give you some wine. Here you go. I don't know why I'm doing this mission. After all that has happened, he still thinks to put... And now we Search for the near the tribunal, which is up and over there for whatever reason. Warning, people are already studying the fuck out of the Street Fighter 6 beta. It's a fighting game. Look, two things about video game people. We love to play video games, but we love it. And the second thing is we love to play it so much, we will play the fun out of it. We will do that. That's why some, like, for example, like, you know, Super Smash Bros. Brawl is no long... Like, that started as a fucking child's party game. And now it's one of the most recognized fighting games used in EVO tournaments and the such, because everyone has researched the fuck out of it and have created all kinds of training modules after cracking the code and creating several iterations of it. And we are not giving up on it for whatever reason, even though Sakurai, the very man who invented it, looked what the people were doing, and he just said, I don't want to make these kinds of games anymore. It was terrible. Brawl is my worst game. And yet the people are like, oh, don't say that. We love the fucking air dodge glide thingy madiggy. We like that we've been able to psychoanalyze every single one of the characters. You have created one of the most widely, like, what's-a-mahoozy fighting games where two Kirbys can't play the same way, even in the top ranks of the world. It's like, ah! Darn you. Do you play No Man's Sky? Because you've been playing it for days now. I've not played No Man's Sky for a very, very long time. Street Fighter 6 is good shit. You played the beta? Hey, awesome! Alright, so Street Fighter 6 sounds, it's like it's going to be a little bit fun. And I want to get into it for the story. I know nothing about the Street Fighter story except for people fighting other people, but I kind of want to get into it. Psychoanalyzing every single-player game I've played. Lol. But yeah. That's the thing. I'm on the side of loving video games. Like, I'm still going through, like, you know, I did this yesterday in a few days. If anyone's a friend of me on Steam, I will just get into a binge of Terraria. I know there's probably a very fast way of being able to get to Moonlord and do, like, Calamity mod post games, but I was fucking around for the first 7 days with all these different kinds of bosses and just doing a fucking grind. You play games for fun, damn it. Go over and never talk again because I just got burned on stream indirectly. Yeah. It's alright if you just want to, like, sort of, you know, sit here and idly, like, you know, lean back and just, you know, sip your hot lemon tea. I think that's good for the throat. Hot lemon tea and whatever medication you have while I go and, you know, play a little more Final Fantasy XIV, because it's been about a year plus. Father is searching for me. Then it is time. Forgive me, Father. Insisted we leave immediately. But I had to see for myself. This is where they took my mother to receive Halone's judgment. He said he would fight for her, that justice would be served. But in the end, justice took my mother away from us. Perhaps if I had been stronger, I could have won the battle that my father did not. Why the fuck am I going through this story? Like, this was a piss yellow story. This wasn't even a, like, that was just a piss yellow story. That wasn't even, like, a blue tick or anything. I also found an amazing manga called Dinosaur Sank. Okay, hang on. Wild Saber. I like that there's some recommendations being sent right now. Actually, hang on a sec. Let me just... I'm going to zoom in for this one, sorry. Where's my filters? There's my filters. I like that you're doing recommendations, but I do not need recommendations. I haven't asked. There's a lot of shit out there that I need to get through. There's a lot of manga, there's a lot of anime, there's a lot of movies, there's a lot of TV shows, there's a lot of video games as well. I'm nearing my 30s. If I ask for recommendations, I will. Otherwise, maybe just tone down. Cool? Awesome. Got distracted by Twitter smut. I'm back. Welcome back, Renee. I am Grant. I also get distracted by Twitter smut. It is really hard sometimes, okay? And the annoying thing is I have contributed to Twitter smut. you know, here and there. Okay, where the fuck am I going? I'm going to the foundation. Okay, cool. I go this way? No. How the fuck do I... Oh, never mind. I'm just going to use the map. I recommend breathing. Ah, nah, sorry. What? Did you just recommend me something, friendly pylon? Why can't I remove shit? Hang on. Where the fuck is my moderation thing? All right. Did you... Where's my... Bam!
Gotcha, bitch!
Gotcha! Really hard sometimes. Who are you, the media recommendation demon? I am GrantZeebs. GrantZeebs, a.k.a. Grant Johnson, a.k.a. Grant Big Dick Energy Johnson, a.k.a. Grant Himbo Johnson, a.k.a. Zeebs, a.k.a. That Streamer, a.k.a. Who the fuck are you on TikTok, a.k.a. Stripey Boy, a.k.a. Hoss. A lot of AKAs here, but point is... Boop. Thank you for the boobs, Kaio. I am a lot of things. Hi all, hi, hello, you two all. How are you all doing today? Hi there, Jack. Welcome to the stream. I am doing okay. Cookie for Jack. Here you go. Here's your cookie. Cookie. I'm lost. Where the fuck am I going? Okay, so I need to head to the Forgotten Night. I just had a sip of water as well. All right, let me do an official one then. Thank you for the hydrate there, Jack. Hope you're doing okay. Zeeb packs because they are lovely. Oh. Me, as an unbiased zebra, also recommend zebra pecs, as zebra pecs are the greatest pecs. Also, what is with all these, like, red marks? Who's fucking... Cell spade. Oh, requires mining. Oh, I didn't know I can do... Oh! Oh! Allow you to better identify the characteristics of... Oh! Alright, well, I know what I'm doing on the offline. Alright, Sid, my man! My Dark Knight Bella. Grant, I pray your trip to Gear Albania was productive. I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, I am glad you reclaimed more of your Aether. I but wish the circumstances hadn't been so... depressing. For Mist's sake, we should have to see how he is feeling when he returns. Now, as far as I'm aware, he has yet to return to Ishgard. He certainly isn't here, as you can see. Oh, gods damn it! Don't tell me he decided to run away, and just when I was beginning to trust the little bastard. No. I couldn't still be wrong. He's earned a little trust. A few days more, no more. Yay, a lot of experience. And 2k of gil! Man, imagine if people just gave me... I was in Smash... Let me order my... I'm gonna allow that. Normally, I like that Twitch has like auto mod features, so then that way, like, you know, if someone is like doing bullying or extra, like, you know, insulty kind of messages and such, it does like that whole like, yeah, let me just hold that. But I laugh like whenever these like messages like these, because I'm like, oh yeah, chat needs to read this fucking glory. Amazing. Oh shit, this game has a gold saucer. You didn't know? Alvirus! You didn't know? You didn't know that there was a motherfucking gold saucer? Also, hang on, where do I have a hyper zoom? Hang on a second. Filters. Slow zebra zoom. I forgot to say something clever with this slow zoom. And then down to the bottom right. Oh, Jesus. No! There we go. Okay. I need to update my Stream Deck, because I'm missing that button, and I would like to use that button. Stream Deck. Here we go. This game needs more Blitzball. It's It's got enough. Maybe that's the next expansion, or maybe it is already in there, and I'm just, you know, didn't realize this. All right, so I need to get the filters here. Slow zoom, and then the source is the main stage. And it's going to be the slow zebra zoom. So now I have that available as a button. Yes, I do. Awesome. All right, now I can close out of this thing. Blitz these balls. Fucking got him. Hi there, Kahlua. Welcome to the stream. Did my pant... Oh, I don't do I not have a pants grab? Why don't I have a pants grab? I have a Poggies. I have a mod check. Math time. My god. Blue has fucking failed me. Blue has added in a shit ton of emotes from 7TV. A lot of them are Final Fantasy related, which I really appreciate that he's done that. But he didn't put in the fucking pants grab? Like... Are you even wearing pants? Shut the front door. I'm wearing pants, thank you very much, Kahlua. Unlike some people. Unlike some hang on, buttons. Unlike some degenerate furries out there who do not wear pants while on stream. Do not trust these furries. Do not trust anyone who doesn't wear pants. Even with a virtual avatar are separating you from them. You should always have pants. Pants in the bedroom. Pants in the study. Pants in the bed. Pants in the shower. Pants. Nothing but pants. Anyway, how's it going, Kahlua? He's being distracted by cock and balls. Most likely. Real men play triple triad. Hey, I played triple triad. I got a deck. I've done shit. My goodness, I'm also... Hi, Kahlua. Pants, not even once. My goodness. Yay, we can now get, like, cool new thingy-majiggies. And we get, like, an Abyss armor. So, this must be, like, the final, thingy-majiggy before we have to finish, Stormblood or whatever the fuck that expansion is. Alright, more voices! Gods damn it. Mist. We're going to have to track him down and make him return the remainder of the Aether he stole from you, aren't we? He said that when this was finished, naught would remain of him. Bloody vague and ominous, to say the least. We'll just have to press him for answers when we find him. You last saw him in Regal's Reach in Gear Albania, yes? We'll start there. I'm going too. And I won't take no for an answer. Sid's gotten better, but he's a long way from fully recovered. Besides, you'll need someone else to help you do the talking. Sid's no good at it. I've been called out and clipped, lol. Don't worry, Alvirus. I really appreciate the clipping, though, Aradaho. It is going to... Ooh, sausage. It's going to really help me out, because it means the more clips there are, the more chances are that there's going to be a new TikTok released in the future. And it's going to be of, like, brand new-y kind of content. Gather information at the something or rather reach. Cool. It is going to cost me a lot of money, but we are going to do it. Excuse me, nose. I'm sorry, Grant. I'm too thick for my pants. I can't help it. No one is too thick for pants. You've rediscovered... No, German boy! Do not enter the Warhammer 40k universe! Uwu? I don't know anything about Warhammer 40. Ah! There we go. What if I want to wear a skirt instead? Skirts are valid. You're towing the line, but skirts are valid. So long as you're wearing bottoms that are a little more than just underpants, I will allow. Because I, GrantZeebs, am like the source of all truth for the appropriate attire that VTubers should wear, because I had to read the fucking Twitch community guidelines because as I was really worried I wasn't able to show nipples on stream, and I was actually confirmed in my thoughts when I was reading the community guidelines, and it really annoys me that there are some furries out there who do not have nipples as glorious as mine, and they're showing them off, and they're obviously able to, like, get away with it for whatever fucking reason. But the minute I want to show my nipples, I know I'm gonna be in absolute trouble. Woolk put a lot of fucking work into these nipples. They're very much worth it. I don't understand why Twitch doesn't just accept that people have nipples and everyone wants to show nipples. There should really be, like, a sound for when this gets zoomed. Hey! Boo, Twitch, free the nip. I really want, like, hashtag free the nipple. Would be great. Looking for a young boy with a long blonde hair, blue hair, you say? Reckon I would remember someone like that if they were to come this way, and I don't. Spoke with the fella before me during the changing of the guard, as we do, and he made no mention of anyone matching that description either. Cool. Zeeb's got lovely nips. Yes, I do. I have fucking immaculate nipples. Thank you very much. Woolk did a lot of work on these nipples, and then the opportunity rose for me to be able to have, like, my shirt taken off on stream, but then I had to learn that community guidelines was updated so that it affected VTuber models and any avatars that were based off of mocap as well, and it was just a... Ooh, Nagas. Hi.
Chimera has added quote number 266. I don't understand why Twitch won't accept the fact that everyone has nipples.
Thank you for the 266 quote. Hey, let me just double check and see. Did that work in my, Did that not work? What the Hang on. Why didn't that work? Actions... Hang on. Quote add. Execute code. Keep alive. Compile on start. What the? Why didn't that work? Save and compile. So it adds the marker. It should... And then... So it grabs the user, username, raw argument. Why didn't that work? Grabs a quote ID, grabs the name of the quote, gets the current date, does a random string. Why didn't that work? This isn't good. Copy ID. Hang on. So it does the webhook there. And then... It was working before, before I did things. Okay, not that profile. I need to mute the server settings. Webhooks. Where's my webhooks? Widgets, maybe? Streamer mode enabled. Alright, let me just disable streamer mode. Integrations. Okay, so there's two webhooks. There's the quote bot that does the quotes. Why didn't that work? What the what? It worked in the past. And that is the webhook. Grabs the surname, grabs the username. You have yeah, no, I have unsaved changes. I was really looking forward to this. Where's, okay, so there's the ratings, Frank Walker. Quote add. Inspect when it was run. So we got the quote. Quote game ID. Quote ID is 266. Ah! They have triple triad, best game. You're going to lose so much gil here. Au contraire, you're not going to get any gil whatsoever while playing the triple triad games. You're just going to get, like, Manderville coins. There's no pain. I'm happy I got to mess with the current relic weapons. Hey, excellent work. I'm actually going through the Heaven's Ward round weapons. I finished Thorin, actually. Plot twist, Grant is the throne. What? Check out Grant's throne wish list if you want to gift items to the streamer or help support Zeebs saving up for the Ryzen 5950. I need to remember. The saucer uses crypto, fake money. Yeah, of course it uses fake money. I think you can, like, you can only buy up to a certain amount of Manderville coins, but I think there is a system of pulling coins out, but it's not really that great of a means of getting more coins compared to, like, all the other ways you can get coin, like item moles and such. Alright, so Chimera added the quote. Sorry, you said nipples too many times. It was inevitable. Hey, you clipped it. No one is... Alright, Hippie, I'm getting sleepy. It's nearly 3 a.m., but I missed you, so I want to stay up. Not to worry, Renee. If you need to sleep, it's okay. You can sleep. Why didn't this webhook work? It should have.
GrantZeebs has added quote number 267, why didn't this webhook work? It should have.
It used to work. This shit used to work. Stream marker description. Yep, did a stream marker. There was a TTS delay. Why? This is grinding me now. Like, this creates the stream. I got rid of the basic webhook, just so then that way I could... Oh, don't tell me, like... Compile references, settings... Pre-compile... quotes web hook save and compile. All right, what happens if I run it again? The action cues, quote history.
Call me Arandaho has added quote number 268. I was really looking forward to this.
Is there stuff that... Because it does the ducky stuff. Makes the TTS bot visible. Then it does the Twitch messages added... Quote something or other. Execute the code. Does the delay. Something's not right in my C# code. But why? Why is something wrong in my C# code? So it does a new embed. Is it... No, I swear I did it correctly. Compiled correctly. Find references. Found one potential reference. Added to reference list. Stormblood. Newton soft JSON. Newton. Sorry, chat. I'm newtonsoft.json. C#. Is it because I can't use Newtonsoft? Streamer bot. Hang on. Or to move to... I know it can be added. This would just make it easy to use. Package services. Oh, Newtonsoft.json DLL. Okay, I think contains thingamadiggy and assembly code. Thank you for the hype. Thank you for the hyper himbo. I do appreciate it. Sorry that I'm like I'm sorry, but like this happens when if you give me a problem like this, I am going to like, you know, practically stop everything and hunt down. Okay, no, I do have the Newtonsoft JSON. So it's there. I don't need to download that, you know, distribution. I can't believe C# isn't wearing pants. C# is a code. God damn. It worked in the past. Preferences, settings, quote, webhook, save result to variable name. Oh no, because that's just returning a true. Alright, hang on. C#, Discord. What am I looking to do? Embed. How to use embedding with C# Discord bot. Alright, var embed equals new message embed. Comes with a message that's not contained. When I use it, you can create like the following code using the most recent discord.net. Discord. What was the OBS chord? So, because StreamUp did an OBS chord thing. I just need the code they had inside it. I don't need all of it. Just inside. StreamerBot, Discord, webhook. Because I want to send an embedded. I don't want to just send a message into Discord. I want to send an embedded. I could definitely give that suggestion update. HTTPS. Shit. Okay, so it does the new webhook. Take a screenshot. Webhook link. Grab the file path. To where it's, make sure there's a gen. What? That's not right. Hang on. Connect to Twitch. Discord. Clip and post to chat in Discord. Okay, so grabs the webhook, grabs the then it does logging of the info. Then it logs all that information, and then it's doing a multi-part. What? Hang on. Yeah, code is allowed to be passed. Alright, hang on. Dink, donk. This is what I'm doing right now. So I got this. Execute the code. Sending a message, logging the info. And then it's doing a Discord. So I'm doing my Discord message. It's a JSON, converting it into a serialized object where I'm creating a new embedded, which is, you know, based off new. The new is, all right, hang on a sec. So Discord embedded generator. So I was creating a generator, or I used a generator to create my embed, which is basically just this thing here. The idea is Dink. Donk. So that was it there. I just wanted to do this embed. Would it let me just do that without needing to do the embed, though, is the question. I get... Oh, maybe it's the fact that I need to... new quote has been added. Alrighty, and then... So, I'm not putting in a title. Maybe I can just put in a space? No, quote is the quote title, so quote title. The embedded is... so title is that, color is a random color, and then the author... So I'm not having anything in the description, but I'm having the author. So the name is quote so let's say like 600, and then I'm not putting anything in the URL. So that just does the name, and then there's a new footer, and the text is just going to be video game. So the idea is that it would do like, you know, this kind of embed here. So if I view the code... Oh, is this for the wrong... Damn it. Damn it, this won't do. All right, generator JSON. Okay, hopefully this visualizer helps. Embedded title... Maybe I'm not doing... No, I should be... Because this code is based off of... Hang on a second. I'm going to hit cancel on this, just so then that way I can get to this time warp OBS code. Because it's grabbing all these arguments, like the Discord webhook. Does the raw. And then it executes the code. Grabs the different argument, changes it to a string. Yep. I don't think I need to do that. Alright, here it is. Because I was basing it off of this, where it's a new embed, grabs the title, which is equal to the user's input, grabs a color, which sets it to that, and then it does an author, which is a new thingy-madiggy. Time warp. All right, hold on a sec. I'm just gonna copy this stuff. Just so then that way I have that, Adam. I have that available to me. Yep, hit the paste on here. Shrink you down just so then that way I can see you. All right, hit the cancel on there. Back to the quote add. All right, let's have a look. All right, so yeah, embeds, new, square brackets, does an opening curly bracket to do a new. Title is equal to something or other. You do the comma, you do color, and I'm doing color based off random, which is based off of this. Because it just needs to be a string. Oh. No, it needs to be a string because because this could have letters in it, potentially. And then I do an author, which is new. Does the opening bracket, which is name is equal to... yeah, so you do quote number. So yeah, because I don't want to do a... Unless they don't like the embed because there isn't a... No, that shouldn't be the case. That wouldn't be necessary. Alright, so then it closes off... Hang on. So name is equal to, and with the thing, okay, so that's fine. So new footer. It's okay to have. Oh wait, that's for the footer. So author is new, opening bracket to do the name, and then it closes the bracket. And then you do a comma, you're doing a new footer. Does it not like author for some reason? No. No, that's... Alright, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna at least enable this again. This is a shitty, like it's a very lo-fi webhook for adding the quote and what have you, which is a little, yeah, it's just what it is. All right, so if I go, hang on, action cues, let's see what happens. Requeue.
Chimera has added quote number 266. I don't understand why Twitch won't accept the fact that everyone has nipples. GrantZeebs has added quote number 267.
All right,
why
there we
didn't
go.
this webhook work? It should have. Call me Arandaho has added quote number
All right,
268. I was really looking forward to this.
All right, I'm gonna stop fucking about with that one. That's gonna be an offline solve. Maybe I just need to talk to someone for help on that one. So then that way, because you guys didn't come here for a code stream. You came here for me going through all these like different quest lines and figuring out where the fuck the little boy with my like Dark Knight Aether has gone to. What's that? You're looking for that boy too, are you? I was watching some birds late the other night when I heard someone skulking about behind me. Forgive me, I hear him saying, before he runs off and disappears into the dark. Then I realize it's quiet. Too quiet, eh? Sleeping birds make noises and mine ain't, 'cause they're dead. Every last one of them. No wounds or any other obvious marks, but there they lay, like the life was sucked right out of them. I don't know how or why he did it, but there's no denying that he did. I demand recompense. If you find him, you bring him to me. Oh, Jesus. God damn. Shit just dies, doesn't it? You know, alright. So yeah, sorry for getting into like desktop supporty mode and trying to, you know, fix something that was a little weird additional thing that I did and not, yeah, any whoosies. Ah, yes, I remember the long-haired boy. Very curious, with many questions about the nature of Aether. He conversed with one of the Adder conjurers for a time. I know not what they discussed, but from his expression, I gathered it was important. Neaties. Alright, so now we gotta go talk to Sid, who's all the way over there. Ingrel
thinks you should do 15 squats.
Thank you, Ingrel. That might actually, like, be good for me to get me out of my, you know, headspace about C# code and what have you. Oh, boy. Here we go. Here we go. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Thank you for the 15 squats, Angrel. Greatly appreciate it. Alright. Alright, so he's like just over there-ish. Whew. Ah, and the head pats, thank you. Glad to see I haven't, like, you know, pushed everyone out after, you know, derailing the flow of the stream. Yeah. Our inspector returns. Tell us, have you learned aught of Mist's whereabouts? Seen conversing with a conjurer and possibly killing chocobos. Not sure what to make of that, though we can be sure he stayed here for a time. But perhaps no longer. We've learned but moments ago from Gilloy here that a boy matching Mist's description was seen leaving the Reach. He is for the peaks, and so are we. Whew. Wait, which way is the... Oh, this way. Okay. You know, onwards to the peaks. Thankfully, this is, like, taking us towards the direction of, like, the next quest, which is, like, over there, thankfully. Oh, I can see them in the distance just over there, dealing with, a hornbill. What the fuck creature is that, though? He's, like, really fucking top-heavy, and he has, like, no leg whatsoever. What the fuck is up with that? Jesus. No visible injuries, no bleeding, aye. It's as Relay says, these beasts died for no discernible reason, just like the chocobos that man in the Reach claims Mist somehow killed. But it doesn't add up. Other than his singular magic, Mist was utterly helpless, unless... Was he always capable of this? But we know the answer already. He stole your Aether when we first met. Even if we could do it, even if he did do it, why? We'll ask him when we find him, and this time, you'll let me do the talking. Search the east. Relay and I will head south. We'll meet in between if we find naught, and if we do, either you will come to our aid, or we to yours. Alrighty. East. He just told me east, and yet I needed to double check that map and be like, ah, yes, that way. Sometimes, like, I'm really good at reading maps and what have you. I'm just not really good at remembering directions. Oh my god, this thing is actually fairly beefy. Oh, it's because I'm using a level 60 weapon, I think, is the shortcoming. I'll get a more powerful weapon as time goes by, but I do kind of want to try and improve this Deathbringer as best as I can here and there. Ding dong. Slap you. Bam. Now you're dead. There we go. I like that I just need to do a 1, 2, 3 combo and everything is okay. I don't have to do, like, additional nonsense like the DPSs do. I can just take care of myself. Destination. As you survey your surroundings, you observe naught out of the ordinary, but on the edge of hearing, you hear a whisper to the southwest. This way. Cool butterflies. Ah! Excuse me. And once again, the butterflies want to hit me. Why is everything out here to hurt me? There is no need for this violence, because I can actually defeat you. Almost, but not there yet. There we go. All right. Now we resume. Ooh! Moth scales. Growth formula. We've been seeing plenty of those in the alchemy tree. Absolutely fantastic. And the developers saw nothing wrong with creating formulas for growth. Nothing at all. Hey, this looks like... Alright, so there's Sid. And... Who the fuck is... Duty commence. Duty calls. Commence battle for our compromise. Yes, please. We are gonna save our boy. Seven hells. I hate being right. On your guard. Mist has shown his true colors. The Aether or whatever else he took from those beasts have given him tremendous strength. Contrary to his earlier warnings, conjuring another simulacrum wasn't the end of him, and all of the wonderful people he had to pluck from our memories. He chose Yestridi de Colden, that bitch. The woman that was like, you know, really mean to Relay and shit and was like hyper religious and nonsense. It's that woman. I knew she looked familiar. Also, hi there, Daz. Welcome to the stream. How does a zebra use keys when his hooves be so swole? Hands. 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 That's how I do it. But yeah, hi Dazzy. How's it going? Let me just give you a quick shout out. Hopefully everything is going well on your end. Yep, we already read that. He knows why we're here, and this is his answer. He summoned the monster that haunts Relay in her dreams and sends her screaming from her bed. Forgive me, Sid, but you gave me no choice. Say your name, your real name. Shall I ask you the same? Who holds the reins? Though it matters not. We are complicit, you and I. Can you even remember why you came here? Can you even remember how many you killed? How many lives shattered? How many stories ended? Upon the surface of the crystal are carved the sins of dark nights past, and yours are beyond counting, beyond fathoming, without end. Who the fuck is messaging me? Oh, it's the, it's my Magic the Gathering group. Found out the news, someone plays Factor Finishing, me, Z. Oh, cool. Alright, now I need to turn back on, streamer mode on my thingy-majiggy, actually, sorry. Ah! Stop! Stop notifying me of things. I thought I had focus mode. Why are you notifying me of things? Ah, close that. Hopefully then it won't, you know, make noises and shit. Privacy? No, that's not it. Where is it? Streamer mode. There it is. Activate. Okay. Minimize this. Setting up a new PC and chilling. You? Oh, I am chilling. I am... Hang on. Why does my... I guess my Telegram isn't, like, using my, notification system to the thing. So I'm just going to quit out of Telegram. I am having a wonderful time getting back into my eyes. Why is it... Hang on. Run you again. Why doesn't it not... Why doesn't it just go automatically live? Connect. There we go. All right. I am having a wonderful time, Daz. I am going through Final Fantasy XIV. I'm going through, like, the Dark Knight storyline. I'm just before I get further into Stormblood. And I'm gonna crack open a cold one. Check this shit out. I didn't raise the gain or anything like that, so hopefully it still came out, like, okay for you. I have, like, a whole case of Coca-Cola, and Fanta and Sprite in my fridge because I hosted a New Year's party and we didn't go through a lot of the sodas. So I just have like all sorts of sodas that are just sitting in my fridge right now. I don't even like Fanta. I purchased Fanta and Sprite because I just thought those were going to be worthwhile sodas to bring along to my New Year's party. So then that way people had like, you know, non-alcoholic beverages, or they could use them as mixing ingredients. Justice is an excuse. Nobility is a lie. Murder is murder. Yes, you're not wrong there. Murder is murder. Thank you for the, you know, really easy equation, but we aren't confusing murder. We use murder for something. That's the difference. And though we are most definitely not without fault, it is this cruel and different world which has made murderers of us all. Ah, yes. This cruel and different world, however, has nothing against the indomitable human will. But we need suffer no longer. I sought to make these broken souls whole, one by one, when in truth the solution was much more simple. A world beyond pain and suffering and anguish and despair. A world beyond death. A world in which we never need bid farewell to our dearest friends. And how many beasts will you need to kill to make this world of yours? How much aether will you consume to see it through? Bloody self-righteous sophistry from a mewling whelp. So your brilliant plan is to fill the world with simulacra of the dead, is it? And somehow that's supposed to be making everyone happy? Well, you're right about one thing, I'll grant you that. This world is brutal, uncaring, without logic or justice. No justice but that which we make for ourselves, and I'll be damned if I give it up so you can force your illusions upon us to assuage your guilt. Do not find comfort in your reunion with your... Did you not find comfort in your reunion with your master, even though you knew it was a lie? Did it not help you to unburden your soul, to find a measure of peace in this madness? I am not your enemy, not then or now. I will not fight you. All I ask is that you leave me to do my duty. It's never too late to turn back. You're still a good person. You can still be a good person. So this is your answer. Maybe you cannot accept what needs to be done, but I can. Goodbye. Oh, Joy, you having someone else fight for you. Have you read your journal for the Dark Knight questline? No, I have not been reading my journal for the Dark Knight questline. I didn't know I had to read more than what's in the thingy-madiggies. I'm just doing my fight, okay? Just let me do my fight. I recommend every phase they are watching and waiting. Alright, let me just grab all use. Ignore the yellows. Try and get this up even further. This is good soup? What do you... It's yellow. That's not a good soup to stand in. I was told... bad soup. Get fucked, you missed. There we go. Mother. There we go. Yellow is not the best soup. The best soup is like green for broccoli. I feel like that's a good soup. Or... For some reason, they went with blue soup in this game as the good soup rather than green, but... It's the fucking... What's-a-mahoozy... Oh my god, there's multiples of them. Fucking sloppy. And... That bitch. Why... Ugh, so many broken by this world. And then by you, so many. Okay, kid, I don't think you understand who you just brought back. You have literally just brought back colonizers like, you know, our little realm, the like fascist Gridanians. It'd be like if a kid was like, I am going to remove death from this world and everyone would be better. And then the next thing you know, he brings back like Stalin, Hitler, and Mussolini in front of me and is being like, isn't this better? No. It is not better if you have to bring back Mussolini, Stalin, and Hitler to a world without death. Because guess what? They're terrible people, and they don't need to be terrible with death. They're just terrible without it. Good going, Mist. Just bringing back fucking Gridanians that would kill people in the millions. Well, except that guy. He's not a Gridanian, but, you know, he's like the Italians. They, you know, they weren't a problem, and then suddenly they were. Woe betide the man who stands opposed to the warrior of light, for death will be his reward, death for him and his kin and all he holds dear. Woe betide the man who stands with the weapon of light, for death will be his death for him and his kin and all that he holds dear. I swear I just read that. Like sands through the hourglass, everything we fight so desperately to protect slips through our fingers, and what remains is us. Only us. And the memory of our sin. Okay, kid. I feel like you did something terrible in the past. Like, a lot worse than murder. Why do I feel like you were a Dementor, where you just, like, sucked out someone's soul or some shit, and now you're just hearing the soul inside you, like the Philosopher's Stone in Brotherhood, where you're just hearing screams and anger. To walk this path is to suffer. To sacrifice. You gonna help me, Sid? Is anyone gonna help me? Listen to my voice. Listen to our heart. I tire of the charade. Yeah! I probably had like a really cool look, but it didn't happen. Serve, save, slave, slay. I've sins aplenty, aye, but regrets? Not so much. Oh, it's the, what's-a-mahoozy, Dark Knight, the first one. And if he wouldn't listen to me, the embodiment of good sense and pragmatism, then what hope could you possibly have? A house divided cannot stand, you know. This childish rebellion ends now. What in the seven hells is this? It's our boy. Fucking... I forgot their name. Frey! There we go. Thank you. Thank you, quest line box. A compromise, I suppose. Our dear friend here refused to let me take the reins, but I wasn't about to stand idly by while that imbecile tries to do whatever it was he was trying to do. Hi there, Sour Cream. Welcome to the stream. What do I have to guess? You're pregnant. Is that it? Am I correct? Cookie! Ow. Thank you for the bits. Thank you for the 5 bits. No hard feelings about White Brim, eh? Promise not to stab you in the back. It'll be just like old times. Oh, hell yeah! He's got the... We got the same sword! A Dark Knight needs a sword. Take mine. Hella fuck yeah. Let's go. Yeah. No. No. This is wrong. This is all wrong. Have a breakdown, kid. I offer you peace, restitution, a chance to make amends. Do not think you are above it. Do not think that a reckoning will be postponed indefinitely. Okay, so 2 of them, I think, are from the Warriors of Darkness, and then we've got 2 from Heaven's Ward from the looks of it. Did you have a VIP beforehand, or are you imagining things? I think you're imagining things. When it comes, I shall welcome it with open arms. But today will not be that day, and you will not be the judge. Shing! That is a really weird fucking handhold. Open arms and open abs. Ah, excuse me, nose. Ah! Dun -dun. We deal with the dross, then the boy. A simple plan. Alright, knights. You guys, you two. Let's get rid of you first and foremost. You guys were, like, relatively annoying, and one of you is a tank. I know there's probably 2 other tanks over there, but let's just pretend I'm getting rid of the devouts as well. Valiant. Hey! Who turned on the himbo cam? Sour cream. Having a good look at my pecs. Trying to get a look at my chesticles. Real fan of the booba, obviously. Yeah, goopy black energy. Where's the thingy-madiggy for plunge? Get plunged. There we go. Bam. There we go. On a throne of bone, he waits. Oh, we're dealing with all the other thingy-majiggies as well. Cool. Oh, I have, like, no health. What the shit? Why am I so close to death? That makes no sense. Oh, shit. Uh-oh. Yep. Okay. Spit. Okay, what's the one for staying alive? Where is my get out of jail free card? Fuck, I don't know which one's my get out of jail free card. Velk, help! Which one's my get out of jail free card? Fuck, is it Salted Earth? No. Where is it? Shit. Hourglass. Ah, yes. Okay, cool. Thank you, Velk. Just... I never have it close by. Oh, god damn it. Plunge! Hey, I'm still alive. Awesome. There was probably some dialogue to read here, but I was in the middle of fighting. Got him. That's all of them dead. Finish it, Grant. You Soul Eater. Reclaim the last of your Aether. Make us whole. Where's my soul? Soul Eater! There we go. Got him. Yeah! You see Hot Titty BF, you go, agooga. I am very much the same. Booba makes me just, like, hearts and shit. Soul is taste. Hey, they had a part of my ether. It's originally mine. This is like someone who tried stealing your chips at McDonald's and then they reach for the bulk of chicken nuggets and you're just sort of like, what? Bam! No, thank you. My chicken nuggets. Forgive me. Forgive me. I ask, I beg, I pray, but it never comes. Is this like... No, my chicken nuggets. I'm not sharing chicken nuggets out of the goodness of my heart. There is a very explicit exchange when it comes to chicken nuggets, okay? I'm not doing that because it's a good thing, okay? You get chicken nuggets if I want something from you. Again, they go to join the multitude in the black oblivion of the abyss. Excuse me. Hey, it's Frey. Cookie for sour cream. These I can give you, however. I'll give you cookies. Such is our lot. Such is the fate of all who are born, to suffer and to die. Do not seek forgiveness, for it will not ease the burden. It weighs as it should. But what of the loss? Do they not deserve to live again? They do. In our hearts and our souls and our memories. No one likes having to say goodbye, but it's a part of life. That's what makes the time we share together so precious. You can't obsess over the mistakes of the past or you'll lose sight of the future, of the people still with us, who need us more than ever. Are the cookies oatmeal raisin? No, fuck that noise. They're chocolate chip. I don't fuck around with oatmeal raisins. They're chocolate chip, okay? Fucking raisins. You have no right to be in a cookie, okay? Just make them chocolate chips. The greatest strength is born of the flame in the abyss. Great quote there. Oh, do I get to have an opportunity to say something cool while in my Gucci shades? No, I don't. Listen to my voice. Listen to our heartbeat. Listen. I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. Thank you. That is all I ever wanted. A good cookie flavor is the white chocolate and cranberry. It's pretty damn delicious. Okay. A good cookie, I feel like if you could do, say, you know the double choc cookies you get from Subway? Instead of white chocolate bits, they should have macadamia in them. So you have like the cookie like taste of like in the cookie part. But when you have like your little droplets or what have you, it should be the macadamia nut. That is my thought on what would be like a really good, really awesome cookie. Is you have like the double choc base, but instead of more chocolate chips to go with the chocolate cookie, you put macadamia nuts in. So this is it. One last part. Oh, damn it, I misclicked. In your darkest hour, in the blackest night, think of me. And I will be with you, always. For where else could I go? Who else could I love but you? Hold on. Why are you giving me these, like, affectionate tones? You just tried killing me, like, 2 minutes ago. Like, Frey, like, I can understand you having that kind of thing with Frey, but... Hey, there we go. You're disappeared. I want my Aether back. Hey, the sword is still there. Oh, yeah, because it's not Frey's sword. It was Sid's sword. And Sid let him borrow it, so it's part of this world. Oh, Velk, I highly recommend you get 7 TV because you get to check out some of these channel emotes. Hang on a second. Let me just, like... drop some of these in. Blue Foxy Nicey Icy dropped like a whole ton of these. I don't usually use emojis at the best of times, except ironically. That smile you did there is an emoji. Alright, I now need to speak to Sid and Ishgard. Oh, god damn it. I just have to go... He was right there. I could have talked to him right there. Sometimes they don't make sense. Alright. Oh no! T! Alright, oh wait, no, I can just run to the last night. It's just over there. Alvirus is currently doing Black Mage. Ooh! So that's the job you picked for your, Conjurer, is it? Conjurer goes into Black Mage, right? Unless you want me to get crunk with the emojis. Get crunk. Do it. Do it, Velk. You won't do it, Velk. You won't go and get Kronk. You really should try and get Kronk. I highly recommend it. Just go absolute fucking ape shit. Just, you know, wreck it down like a Rothgar gets it down. Conjurer becomes a healer. Ah, okay. So wait, how do you get to Black Mage? Is it Thaumaturgy or whatever the fuck it's called? Thaumaturge, there we go. You'll forgive us for returning to Ishgard ahead of you. I hope I, needed some time to think on everything that happened in Girabenia. I won't pretend to know everything you've been through in your life. A man can never truly understand what's in another's heart. And probably not their own, for that matter. I'm pretty sure rambling at this point, but I suppose what I'm trying to say is that I'm grateful for everything you've done for me in Relay. I like you. I respect you. And I'll always be here for you, if you need me. We're fellow walkers of the path, after all, and friends, I'd like to think. I have been wondering. Mist appeared at the same time the soul crystal cracked, yes? But which happened first? And why then and there? Damned if I know. Does anyone truly understand how soul crystals work? What matters is that the crystal and Grant have been made whole. That said, a heart bleeds, a man weeps, a soul burns. Thence comes the darkness to consume. And few hearts have bled as much as his. Speaking of bleeding, I think your wound has reopened. If you would sit, it would be much easier for me to tend to them. You should get some rest too, Grant. Not all wounds are so obvious. Out of the mouths of babes and suckling praise Helone. She's right, though. No need to overdo it by running off to the next battle just yet. If you put one foot in front of the other, though, why don't you go back to where this whole damn mess began? Maybe you'll have an epiphany. Hell yeah. Alright. We're looking for an epiphany. Can't get Krong at your best. Jiggy with it, but you're no player. And don't jiggle jiggle. It falls for sure. You know. I don't know the words to everything. The Thaumaturge becomes Black Mage, not gonna lie, it's a little finicky. I've seen Pint's video on YouTube about the Black Mage role and how it's like, it is very, very finicky because of all the, like, you know, sigil circles and what have you. And so it's just this joke of like, oh, it gets better at level 60. Nope, level 7. Nope, level 8. It gets better at the last level, basically. Hey, it's our crystal. All right, time to have our epiphany. What troubles you, Master Zeebs? Edmund! But of course. 'Tis bitterly cold this day. At times like these, one should be warming themselves by the fire. Not a day goes by without your name being spoken, you know. The soldiers and merchants often bring us news of your latest exploits. That said, to hear it from the hero himself would be much more preferable. But there would be no exception were you to call on us. The pleasure of your company alone would be more than enough. Rare though I expect it will be in the days to come, but your destiny was never to remain here, was it? though a part of me wishes that you would. Forgive me. I find myself growing more and more sentimental in my old age, and in working on my memoirs, I have had to reflect on the darker chapters of my life. Hachafont. Ah, Hachafont! Ah. Hachafont lived to his fullest. And if his story is preserved for generations to come, then I should be glad for it. You will always have a place here, Grant, for you are family. Now go. Keep you from your labors. No! There's a crash that went off on Final Fantasy XIV. Damn it. Ah. Give me a moment. Hopefully I get to go through the, hopefully I can go through all that nonsense again. Alright, so where is Heaven's Turn? Where's this thingy-madiggy? The upper decks of Limsa Lominsa. Ah, okay. Okay, ding. Alright. Get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. I need to pick up my password. Hang on. Pin it. Close. Think. Because it's a long, weirdy password. Limsa. Yeah. Limsa Luminsa. Brain. It does things. Nose does some annoying things. I want it to just breathe. I don't need it to do sniffles. Very please, don't do sniffles. Just breathe.
Noel 1976 thinks you should do 15 squats.
Perfect timing, Noel. Alrighty. Just move you aside. Grab into you. I'm imagining there's a queue. No, no.
Pull the lever, Grunk.
Okay. Let me do my squats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, ow, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Thank you for the 15 squats, Noel. Hopefully you are doing okay. How are you? Alright, I can now continue on with the cutscene. Excuse me. Ah. What troubles you, Master Zeebs? Okay, hang on. I need to... but of course. Yep. There we go. I should be glad for it. You will always have a place here, Grant. You're done. I'm fine. You fixed your door. Excellent! I didn't know your door was broken previously, but it's great to hear that it's fixed now. I did a bit of a fucky-wucky with my fridge when I was on holiday. I'll explain it to you once I'm done being out of breath and after this dialogue. If I remember. For you are family. Now go. Do not let me keep you from your labors. The world waits for none. Not even you. Boom. Boom, boom. Yay! I now have the Abyss armor. Ooh, the Antiquated Calibolg. Creates a barrier around self or target player member that absorbs damage totaling 25 50% of target's maximum HP. It grants Dark Arts when barrier is completely absorbed. Consumes Dark Art instead of to execute Edge of Darkness or Flood. Ooh. Interesting. Yeah! The best tank skill in the game. Is that the best mitigation, is it? Because it's like 25% of your max health? Because I've seen others where it's like, oh, just like a flat number, but this one's like, oh, it scales with your health. You gotta love it when shit gives you something to scale. You must have registered a product key for Shadowbringers through your service account. You must complete the main scenario, Shadowbringers. You must complete the role quest to have love and loss. Once you've done so, the next Dark Knight quest will be available from Sid. Cool. Yay! And it is not there. Ooh! This symbol indicates that the Dark Arts effect has been granted. This occurs when the barrier applied by the action the Darkness Knight has absorbed the full amount of damage. Flood of Darkness and Edge of Darkness can be performed by consuming Dark Arts instead of MP while the effect is active. The timer indicates the duration of Dark Side, which includes damage dealt using Flood of Darkness or Edge thingy. Acquired at level 40 grants Dark Side. The symbol indicates the defensive stance grid is in effect, which increases enmity. The blood gauge allows you to do blood spill and inquest. Certain Q will increase the blood gauge. You can view the flood thingy-majiggies there. Cool. Awesome. So that's it there. And now there's like a cool little symbol beside it. But I don't see... Alright, actions. Okay, so I got my 1, 2, 3 combo there. Unmend... What's unmend? Oh yeah, unmend's the distance thing. 5 and 6 is the AoE. 7 and 8 is like my engagers. It's your ability next to sprint. Oh, there it is. What was it before? Huh. Well, I got it now. Reduces magic damage taken by self and nearby party members by 10%. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about Dark Mind. It feels very weird that it's like, oh, it's magic abilities. It's like unassignable. Salt and Darkness. All enemies standing in the corrupted patch take additional uninspected with the potency for the first enemy. 50% for this cannot be assigned to the hotbar. Oh, because it does the Abyssal Drain. Oh no, this is part of Salt of the Earth. Or Salted Earth. Where does it say it's come from? Yeah, Salted Earth. So I click Salted Earth, and then it's probably going to be this thingy-madiggy once I'm at level 86. But yeah! Awesome! Okay. Okay, so it's snowing there. I need to go back and do the main questline storyline. Excuse me, eyes. Yep, let's spend the 500 gil to get there. In Heaven's Ward, there was either a focus on magic damage or physical. The last raid boss was high on magical. You couldn't really bring a paladin in, but Dark Knight was highly sought after because of Dark Mind. Okay. So I'm guessing the paladin makes mention of physical damage and such like that then. I wonder why they kept the name in. Like, why can't it just be like, you know, 20% damage? Mefrid. Liss. And Liss still doesn't have any proper... She's just wearing fucking really tall thigh highs and underpants is all she's wearing. You couldn't block magical spells with paladins, so they weren't great for it. Okay. And this gives us the shitty boots. I got better boots already. Yeah, the augmented Schreier stuff, which is... Yeah, so these are the level 60 stuff. Mefrid would like to introduce you to the village elder. Ragnfrid, the village elder, is over by the shore. No time like the present. Let's have a word. Nose. Back into the village we go. This ways. Ah, nose. Excuse me. So, I've only, like, got into this game, like, last year, because I'm trying to think when I started. I think I started in 2021, I would say. I feel like it was that long ago. It was like one of the first MMOs I was doing. Don't you know, traveler? You a merchant? You'll not find much custom here. Greetings, and well met, Elder, and sincerest apologies that I did not send word ahead of our arrival. Too long have I been away from Alagana, and I would know of your recent troubles. Ah, you are comrades of Mefrid. I see, I see. Speak on, though. I suspect I know your purpose. The Griffin came with many men and left with many more. Such is the rumor, is it true? He lit a fire in their hearts and then dangled a dream before their tired eyes, and now you come to steal away what few remain. The Griffin was a traitor and a madman, and we had no part in his schemes. We have made an agreement with the Alliance. This time it will be different. This time? This time? Cold comfort to the dead and the ones they left behind. How much more must we give before you've had your fill? But surely you hate the Empire as much as we do. They took our lands, our traditions, even our god, and they demand a fifth of what we've got left. I hate the bastards with every fiber of my being. But hate's not enough, Mefrid. I can't. We can't keep doing this. I'll not tell anyone you came, but you need to go. Now. Leave us be and never return. You've got no right to speak to us like that. I've got a quarry that was producing barely enough to keep us fed, and that was before half our young men and women went off to die for your bloody cause. So yes, I've got every right to tell you to leave my village. No, you don't. Because it's my village too. My home. What in the hells are you on about? Wait. I know those eyes. You're one of Curtis's girls. Liz Hext. And I'm here. I'm here to take back my homeland. By Regal, the last time I saw you, you were... I didn't even know if you were still alive, and I thought you would come. I almost didn't, and my sister never will. Lots of others won't either, and that's why we've got to carry on the fight. You even sound like him. As you know, I've got no right to tell you to leave. Alagana is as much your home as it is mine. But I say to you again, we can give no more. Yes, I heard you the first time. Let's go. You have which only wear underwear and high fives? Psh, they need to wear more than underwear and thigh highs. They need pants. Pants. That could have been handled better, but what's done is done. At least we've been granted permission to stay. I was hoping Ragnfrid might help us to recruit some of the people, but that clearly isn't going to happen. If we're to convince any of them to join, we'll first need to regain their trust. It's risky and it's hardly subtle, but I say we approach the villagers directly, see what problems they've got, and if we can do anything to help. Sounds good. Sounds like some classic, like, you know, American Wasteland Fallout 4 stuff. You know what I'm talking about, where the Minutemen is like, there's a settlement and that needs your help. I'll mark it on your map. Makes sense to me. Let's split up and ask around. Yay! Okay, I also need to unpack this. Alright, so... Yep, this gives me level 70 stuff. Is it more powerful than what I've got? 69, 81. Yep, this equipment is a lot better than what I currently have, and I could do materia slots if I need to. I don't need to do materia slots yet, but yeah. Alrighty, from warrior. Yeah, okay, so we can only wear the augmented shrine stuff. But then my Dark Knight is able to wear only the Dark Knight stuff, which I very much prefer, which means I can go for like a different attire altogether for this. These days, according to girls, leggings are now pants. No, that's not fair. That's not fair. That's like if guys could just wear socks. Alrighty, what's you? Angry Corel regards you with suspicion. Hi there, Z. Welcome to the stream. I'm doing okay. I was having a little bit of trouble in the whatsamahoozy I was having some trouble with the whatsamahoozy, with my C# code for importing any new quotes that were made into Discord. I've turned off like the rich text webhook and used only like the direct messages, which I'm not a huge fan of. But I'll probably like, you know, have a look at it another day and figure out why it's not doing its thing. I feel like it might just be because of how I set up the JSON payload. So I might just need to like have someone like with a different pair of eyes who does this normal Discord webhook stuff take a look at it. You begin a stream more early than I was unexpecting. Damn. No, well, I would do it at like 6 p.m. I believe my time. So that's like 5. So I think that's like 7 p.m. for like New South Wales peeps, and then it's like, you know, middle of the day or middle of the night, sorry, for Americans, middle of the day for British peeps. Only 29%. You need to make it better. You need to pump those numbers up. A new face in Alagana, huh? What would you ask of me then? A stranger and a generous soul resides? Bollocks. There's not more suspicion than a good Samaritan. On the other hand, if you were an Imperial agent, I'd expect you go about your business with more discretion. Bugger me. You really are here to help, aren't you? Very well. I'll take you up on your offer, stranger. My little brother is working the rocks by... Oh, no, it's cool. My little brother is working the rocks by Grim and Enid. He's got something for me. Can you go and get it? Yes. Right then. Frightened Corel is his name. Ask him for the leftovers. He ought to understand. Yay. Alright, so why am I talking to... Oh, because I can have, like, multiple missions, can't I? But her mind is elsewhere. You best keep your distance if you know what's good for you. Save your peace and move on. Looking for folks down on their luck? Congratulations, you found one. As you can see, my leg ain't what it used to be. Some days I can barely walk for the pain. Mornings are the worst, especially after cold nights. Hard labor's right out. Too much pain and trouble for others. There's a tea what helps with it, though. I'd need a grind a chapuli horn and a hornbill talon for the blend. I can get it for you. Eh? You'll go and get some for me? Just like that? You needn't trouble yourself, so... Never mind, I am doing it anyway. Nice try. Pants are meant to protect your legs. You're better off wrapping your legs in glad wrap than only wearing leggings. Exactly. Wear some jeans. Oh, we gotta kill this grasshopper. Plunge! Dun 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 dun. Boom, bam. Bam, boom, bing. Bam, donk. Ding, dong. Break a leg. Break this. Yeah, got a horn. But yeah, people should wear pants. Furries should wear pants. I can kind of get, you know, the fursuit furries not having like clothes on their person, though I feel like it would still be like a much better immersion if they did. But furries, like in their, you know, their 3D or their 2D, they need clothes. It's very inappropriate to, like, just sort of stream and not have clothes on. I don't know. Maybe I'm just, like, a weird, like, old, angry himbo gramp for that kind of thing, but they should wear pants. Oh my god, how far away is this? Okay, so I have to go there. And apparently there's a... Oh yeah, because the hornbills are over there. Dirt! Don't do it! Hi there, Derp. Welcome to the stream. Happy New Year. I hope you're doing okay. How are things?
Noel 1976 thinks you should do 15 squats.
Alrighty then. I'm gonna step to the side of the road here and do my squats. Haven't done this in a while. Hi, hi. Hello. Alrighty, let me do my squats. Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, my footing was a bit off. Hold on a second. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm doing okay, Derp. 13, 14, 15. Thank you for the 15 squats, Noel. I'm doing fairly alright. I'm getting back into the groove of streaming because I took like 2 weeks off from streaming, and then I streamed like on January 1st just to, you know, give some peeps an update on how my break was, how I ruined my refrigerator for a bit, and how I also was gonna stream, like I was gonna start going back into regular streamings today after work, which is what I'm doing right now. So yeah, hopefully your study is gonna go well. Are you like close to graduation and such, or are you still like another year or few? There we go. Awesome. We've now slain everything we need, so now it's just a case of doing our second mission. Lasers! Gun! Gun. You're still 3 semesters away, not counting this one? Aw, damn! So that's... so you got... so technically 4, so 3 is the okay, so not next year, but the year after you should be done with everything, which should be good. It shoots lasers? Yes. It shoots very explosive lasers. They don't actually do anything to the creatures, it's just a visual thing though. But I like it. Door broke a few weeks before Christmas and you only had it fixed a few days before during torrential downpour. You live in a shed in the back garden, so the rain mattered. Oh, god damn. Oh, god. Oh. Yeah, that would suck. That would suck. Yeah. Doesn't sound like a fun time at all. I'd put that in the same like sort of realm as when I had to clean up my fridge after the holidays, because Like, I don't think you know this, Null, but I don't think a few people in chat know this, but I'm gonna like, you know, really quickly go through the cliff notes. I left to go on holiday in Hawaii for like 8 days. Hi there, Chaos. I went to go off on holiday for 8 days, and one of the things I did before I left is I turned off the power to my apartment from like the breakers, thinking that I would be saving energy and electricity when I, you know, for the time I was gone, and then when I came back, there would be like, you know, not too big of a bill. What I inevitably ended up doing, however, because of turning it off at the breakers, was that I basically made everything in my fridge melt, because the fridge, you know, stopped cooling, everything got to room temperature, everything thawed, it dripped, it was absolutely disgusting. And so what ended up happening is that I just had this really extra smelly fridge when I came back after 8 days, and I knew I was gonna had to deal with this fridge like when I was in day 1 of my trip, and oh my goodness, like I knew it was gonna be bad. I didn't know it was gonna be as bad as it was, because like I had diced onions, chicken, and beef, like minced beef in the freezer, so it thawed and created like this disgusting brown sludge that went like through the freezer into the fridge compartment and then back out. And so I had to like basically turn on the breakers, get to my kitchen, turn off the fridge there so it didn't ventilate the smell or anything like that. And I just threw everything out from the freezer and the fridge. I wiped it down as best as I could on day 1 and left the doors open for the smell to air out and such, now that there wasn't any of that gunk. I left like baking soda in there. I had like vanilla extract as well. Grant, I love you, but I just said, oh, I'm so sorry. But yeah, end of the story. I spent 2 days and like $100+ on cleaning supplies just to clean up this fridge. It was a terrible idea, and to this day, I'm still having these moments when I go into my apartment or open the fridge that I'm like, is the smell still there? Because like there will be a moment where I think I smell it, but I can't smell it again. It's terrible. Here for the leftovers, are you? Not like my brother to send someone in his stead, but so be it. It's all in the sack over yonder. They're bleeding heavy, mine, so be careful when you pick them up. I am the motherfucking warrior of light. I have a chocobo to help me carry this stuff. Unconscionably heavy sacks. Just like my balls. So yeah, hi again, Dazzy. How are things going on your side of things, Chaos? Besides having to listen through my fridge story again. There are so many peeps in Australia who like follow my Twitter that saw my tweet about like, oh, fun fact, do not turn off your fridge. And they're just sort of like, Grant. What the fuck, Grant? Like, we knew you were himbo, but that was just too far. Alright, hang on, I gotta kill this giant. It was over himbo. Look, it doesn't help as well that as I was like, you know, as I was leaving my apartment, I was leaving in the afternoon as well. I was wide awake for this. I was like holding my suitcase in one hand, going down the hall, and it was a last minute thing of like, oh, I should have been turning things off at the walls, but that's gonna be too much. So I opened the cupboard where my breakers were, and I flicked the mains off, and I was like, damn, I'm a fucking genius. I can't wait. Like, I thought I was a genius for doing that. The idiot that I was. Isn't it like summer for you? Yes, it is. It was summer. It was hot. I did it. It was for 8 days straight that this was happening. So don't trust me 100% on some advice. I will be real with you, especially money-saving advice. Ah, the new face. You have my leftovers? Yes, the unconscionably heavy sack. What do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. Well, I'll be. You actually went and bought the whole thing. Much obliged. Much obliged. It's saltpeter for making fire sand. In case you're curious what it's all for. The rocks by the lakes, I've got deposits. Tain't hard for my brother to pass for any other plodding quarryman, all the while sweeping bits and pieces off to the side to bundle up and sell to the soldiers what to trade with the resistance. It's a living and a way of fighting back besides. Our way of spitting in the Garlean's eye for putting our father in an Imperial uniform and shipping him off to some faraway providence 15 years ago. Don't know if he's if he's dead or alive even, though if he were alive, he'd not be long for this world if we were caught fighting for the resistance. So this is the best we can do. That's the long and short of it. We do what we can, though we know it's not enough. Aussie summer. Yep, Australian summer. Brisbane. So I know what I did was dumb, is the thing. I know what I did is dumb, and I've done, like, I had to do a lot of cleaning to try and remove it. I'm pretty sure I got most of it done. I just need to, like I just need to refresh, like, the baking soda I have in there right now. So then hopefully it gets rid of the smell, and then I need to figure out why I can suddenly smell it. Because, like, if I open my front door, I get it hits the nose for, like, a fraction of a second, and then it's gone. I think you'll find that most folk here ain't much different. Everybody's got a reason, but in the end, the result is the same. I suppose I just wanted you to know is all. That we know why you're here, and that even if we can't join you, we wish we could. Yay, experience and a tiny bit of gold. Griseldis, here is your tea. You've been gone a while. What brings you back to Alagana? A horn and a talon. It's a weird ingredients in your tea, but hopefully it works out more like a tea than a soup. I never meant to. I mean, in times like these, you never think people will actually. This country's hard on people, but it's not just that. The Imperials, they've made it its own, made it known I'm not to be helped. A dead man's good for one lesson, you know. Whereas a live one... You're with the Resistance, right? I suppose there's no reason not to tell you then. My father, God rest his soul, was deathly sick at the time, and so I'd gone out into the forest, spear in hand, to gather herbs, and then I had the good fortune to run into an Imperial patrol. My weapon marked me as a rebel, or so they said. Not that I'd made a difference if I'd fought back. I knew what the lot of them were about the moment that Centurion laid eyes on me. Didn't matter in the end, of course. Some people just like to hurt others, and by the time I limped back to the hut, it was too late for my father. Too late for me, too, and many others, I imagine. Help them, too, if you like. We'll be grateful and say thank you, but beyond that, I wouldn't hope for much. Damn. Alrighty. Cynical youth. So, yeah. Yay! None of these I'm gonna wear. I'm probably gonna, so most likely grab the Heaven's Eye. Mefrit is hard at work, trying to win over the villagers of Alagana. Oh, well, this has been easy. Ah, there you are, Grant. I've been trying to help the villagers with this food shortage of theirs. Recently, the Imperials have been swooping into villages unannounced and seizing supplies in order to prevent the people from stockpiling, in case they might be in league with the Resistance. It's not much, but I've taught them a few tricks to better hide what little they've got left. How's your cell getting on, by the way? You think people would be more inclined to trust a local girl, assuming they remember her, that is. She's just going over to people and just be like, "Oh, please, mister. Would you like to help the Resistance? Would you like to fight for the Resistance? No, I didn't mean to." Oh, wow, she's failing at this. And where were you these past 20 years? Where were you when we were being ground under the Black Wolf's boot? On the other side of this bastard wall, living the high life, I'd wager. That's not fair. Oh, and who's this? Another one of your freedom-loving friends? Denying to help us poor, unfortunate souls? Trying to whip us into a frenzy so we'll go and storm a castrum with our pickaxes and shovels? Leave all of you, before you bring a cohort down on us all. And you, Don't you dare speak like you're one of us. You can't even begin to understand what we've been through. You weren't here, LaSalle. You weren't here. This is my home, and I love it with all my heart. And if you truly have any love for it too, you'll keep us out of your doomed rebellion. He has a point. No matter what I say or do, it doesn't change the fact I left them behind. But this isn't about me or anyone else. It's about Alamigo. Let's go and find Mefrid. Yeah, she's not doing too hot. Absolutely terrible. No skills whatsoever. You know, just punches things really hard, and that's about it. Also, what's up with my inventory? Why is it... Sort. There we go. Oh, I can put those in here. 3 slots remaining in... Oh, I gotta clean up my saddlebag. Okay. I need to figure out what I can do with some of this shit. The Gordian bolts probably... So yeah, I'm gonna get rid of these, because they don't actually help me one bit. They're a very easy thing to pick up in the, what's-a-mahoozy. So, and what's more is, I can't sell them, which I think is probably the biggest annoyance. I just had all this, like, you know, craftable shit, and it was like, doesn't make anything I like, and is not tradable, so I can't, you know, make a return on all the times I went into the thingy-madiggies. Give me your cabbages? We'll have his revenge for all those bastards which knocked over his cabbages. Fuck around and try and find out. Wait, hang on. Let me do that again. Let me just dink. Alright, hang on. Blank slate. Hands up, give me your cabbages. Cabbage guy will have his revenge for all those bastards which knocked over his cabbages. Fuck around and find out. You feeling lucky? Oh, well, misfire. Anywho's... Oh, wait. Gun's still in my hand. There we go. Yes. Discard the Gordian bolts. The Midian lenses. Shaft. The crank. The spring. The plate. And the bolts. Absolute waste. Alrighty. Alright, so add use to the saddlebag. There we go. Sort that inventory once more so it's all in order. Mefrid. Looks like the Elder wasn't the only one unwilling to hear us out. Can't blame him, given what happened at the wall. I thought I might be able to appeal to them as a fellow. I don't know, but if anything, it just made them angrier. I haven't lived through it like they have. I can't claim to know the struggle like they do either, LaSalle. I ran too, but if I hadn't, I'd never meet Grant or the rest of you, and we might not be here today in a position to make a difference. So I don't regret my choices, nor will I apologize for them. There's more than one way to fight. You've got armored cars, can't hurt me with a handgun. Well, that's unfair. You used my angry emote and then you showed someone holding a gun at me. I thought you were, you know, just right beside me. Help! Someone! Anyone! We need help! I don't like the sound of that one bit. Come on. We're Krata, the Tributum, and the bloody Ratmen, damn it all! You there, Take a breath, and then tell us what happened. It was all business as usual. The tributum's due soon, and we were taking it to the Imperials when the Quirin attacked. They took my brother and our money. Took him where? Ruins to the south of here. It was just an old temple before they came, and listen. Rakrata's the only family I've got left. If I lose him, The Zuggurat? If the Zvat men took him there, he's as good as dead. We've got to get after them. If there's even a chance her brother is still alive, we have to try. I am half imagining that, like, you know, disenfranchised youth is going to be following us. You're right, Liz. We've got to help them. If not for the missing man, then for the tributum. The Garleans won't suffer excuses if they're late. Mefred understands that you must act quickly to save Rakrata. So, Rakrata's being held somewhere at the Ziggurat to the south, which is being taken over by a host of Kikuran bandits. That's about covers it then. Be prepared for a fight. They may not be the most challenging foes, but there's sure to be a lot of them. Sounds good to me. More fighting. That's what we're interested in. Sprint. Pfft, there's just a fat fucking cloud there. What the hell? Oh, the fat fucking cloud is attacking me. Don't call him fat. It's a fat fucking cloud. Look at it. There we go. He's dead. 100,000 experience points from quests. 120 from fighting these things. Discovering a new place, however, gives you like 15,000. This game does the right thing of encouraging to go further. None of this grind nonsense. Jump. So yeah. And besides, Alvirus, as a fat man, technically on the scales, I'm 120 plus kilos. I think I'm allotted to being able to call other people fat. Bent. Hey, a blood glider. There's zero grind here at all. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. You can just grind in, like, say, dungeon or hunts or what have you, but it's encouraging to see that, like, you know, just going through the quests, it's like 100,000. It's like so much more than just standing around and dealing with whatever enemies are here. All right, let me just get rid of this meat eater. It's a... What the fuck is this thing? Looks like a weird, like, fucking fox. Oh, I almost missed that. There we go. There we go. Another new location discovered. Hey. Excuse me. They give you enough nowadays. Yeah, there's a lot, like, everything is optional, nothing is mandatory. Although, Alvirus has been playing... How long have you been playing Final Fantasy XIV, Alvirus? Like, you're currently on the free trial. You were doing, like, a lot... You were going through a lot of levels, and you got your Thaumaturge up to... How high of a level did you get to before you realized you had to go through in hours? No idea. In general, since November. Okay, so you've been playing since November. How far in the main questline storyline have you gone? Your first class is Conjurer. How long? How long were you going through before you reached, like, points of the main questline storyline? Where are you right now? You just unlocked the dungeons. So I know for certain you have reached like, you know, like level 20, level 30, I'm fairly sure, with some of your classes. And you've only now unlocked dungeons, which is level 15? Level 20? You're averaging around level 20 to 30. Yeah. Hey, what's with the thumbs down, Z? What's with the thumbs down? There's people with very low battle classes, but maxed gatherers. Okay, they weren't doing gathering, though. They were doing a shit ton of battles. There's a lot to do, okay? Yeah, but you were like... Look, I feel like if you can just sort of, like, you know, pace your main questline content, so then that way you're like, no... Because, like, for a very long time, you were on Conjurer, and you couldn't... And you were like, damn it, I can't get into... going into any of the job classes for some reason. And it wasn't until you kind of caught on that you need to finish a certain segment of the main questline storyline before job quests are available to you. Literally have a lot of things to do. There's a lot of things to do at 50. There's a lot of things to do at 50, okay? There's not a lot of things you need to do at 20, okay? It was just so silly, because, like, they were committed. They put a lot of time into this game. And it's that meme of they get to the first boss of the game, and they've just been decked out in all the side quest content, is what it feels like. You have 4 classes, 3 magic classes, and 7 gathering classes. Yeah, like, you've gone through so many. You've opened up so many of them, and you've actually, like, progressed into a lot of them. I have gone through... okay, so other than going through all the gathering and crafting classes, I have gone through 2 classes. I have gone through the Marauders, which has led to Warriors, and then I went to the Dark Knight. That's it. That's all I have done. And here you are with, like, it's called Jack of all trades. Ah! Please let me go. I'm begging you. I don't want to die. More like a master of none. Hear that? I think it came from the top of that ziggurat. Who dares come to loot our man flesh? Ours to eat. Ours to eat. We knew it'd come to this. Kill them quick before they alert the others. Let's fucking go. So we're gonna be climbing up this thingy-majiggy. We sense a disturbance in the force. Dink. Dunk. Me with a level 90. Okay, no, but Thorn, here's the thing. You're a level 90 botanist after you hit, like, max level on your white mage. Alvirus's 4 classes and, like, 4 physical, 3 magic, and 7 gathering. Like, ignoring the 7 gathering, 4 fighters, 3 magic, none of them are jobs yet. They're just classes. That's it. They're not jobs yet. They thought they couldn't do jobs on the free trial. They thought they couldn't do jobs on the free trial, and it wasn't until they realized that you actually have to progress through to certain points of the main questline storyline before you can get soul crystals. Levies for the botanists are ridiculously beneficial. Oh yeah, levies are, like, I'm pretty sure levies are, like, the big thing for level progression in non-combat based classes until, I think, farms or something, or, like, there's some sort of Stardew Valley island that's being released now that I still haven't gone to yet. Oh my god, we're fucking stairs up this Aztec. Aether Current! Best not forget this. There we go. Nyom. Dun, 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 dun. Dangerously on the edge. Jump, 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 jump. Rakratra! There has been a disturbance. Oh, I need to bring him, like, over this way. There we go. Get away from that boy. I'm just doing AoEs until they're... There we go. Brilliant. This is like a discussion with a sword talking with two swords for telling the healer heal one of them, and it's like me, you just... What? Hang on. This is like a discussion with one sword talking with two swords for telling the healer one... telling the healer heal one of them, and it's like... me just seeing the chaos. Your... Z... You make no sense. What the fuck is that? You need to explain yourself just a teensy bit more. Just a teensy bit more. You need to explain yourself. I'm having a very weird visual in my head. One sword talking to two swords. Explain yourself just a little bit better. Also, sippies. Hi there, Dazzy. We've gone and saved this man. Rakratra. We're Rakrata. We're Krata? By Ralger, what did I ever do to deserve this? I've gone to bed hungry for months. I'm skin and bones. I'd hardly make a snack, much less a meal. Yeah, early Stormblood. It's been like a year and a half, Dazzy. It's taken me a year and a half because I only do this like once a week. I'm only going through the main questline stuff when I'm on stream. I'm not doing any offline stuff unless it's like grinding in the dungeons or the relic weapons or the carpenter or like the gathering crafting classes. Like, unless it's those things, I'm not normally doing Final Fantasy offline. Or I should say, like, off-stream, I should say. Not offline, because you can't play this game. I try to do MQ on stream, too, but you need job crystals. You'll get there. Oh! You found him! Look at the chocobo. But wait! Are you here to rescue me? Your sister sent us. It's going to be alright. My sister... Oh, Ralger, be praised. She's safe? And you lot fought your way in here just for me? To think there are still good, brave folk in this world. We should go before the Kikurin return in force. Do you still have the Tributum? Oh gods, the Tributum! The Imperials will be wondering where I am. I have to go. What, right now? In your condition? You don't understand. We were giving a warning last month for being short. If I don't make it in time, there's no telling what will happen to me and my sister. And there they go, just running off. You're the healer. I am one sword. Ali is the two swords. Oh! Okay, here's the difference, however. I'm the big... powerful, strong sword here in your little analogy. Alvirus is like the lots of little swords. I'm quality. I am a top quality Zeebs, like 100% beef. I'm not 100% beefcake IRL, but one can try. You know, I'm glad we saved him. But seeing him run off like that, I've got a bad feeling about this. The Black Wolves pups. Alright, so we can get all kinds of weird weapons and such. Liz has never been one to ignore her conscience. Listen, Grant, Mefrid, I think we need to go after Rakrata. Wait, you had better not be thinking of stopping him. You heard what he said. If they don't pay one way, they'll pay another. I know that. I do. And I don't want to interfere. I just want to see that he makes it there safely. If that's the sum of it, then fine. Let's head down and see if we can't pick up his trail. Alrighty. Alrighty. Woo! Still alive. Where am I? Oh, there we go. A spoiled sack. Upon closer inspection, you find nothing of interest. Not good. Ah, rotting. Nope, fuck you. Slice and dice. Donk. There we go. Alrighty. I survived, Z, okay? We don't need to question how close to death I was, okay? I knew exactly what I was doing. Alright, so... Oh, chocobo feather. That's what we need. Meow. Chocobo feather. Tell me your secrets. In the dirt, you spy a chocobo feather. Any luck? A chocobo feather, is it? Aye, by my reckoning, it came from Ricardo's bird. In which case, there's a collapsed bridge just around the bend. Hug the rocks and stick to the shadows. We'll find him soon enough. Ding. Alrighty. Alright, let me just get a random mount, see if we can go a little bit faster. Hell yeah, a horse that's on fire. Fuck yeah. Alright, let me just avoid the weird moth. There we go. Hey, and we're here. Ugh, excuse me. Any minute now. I expect you'll come thundering round the bend and... Hear that? Get to cover. Aw, look at the chocobo. Nothing should happen to this chocobo. I'ma be real mad if the chocobo gets hurt. Alright, so we got some...
Are they
cool...
Imperials?
Worse. Skulls. Listen, Lise. Whatever happens, stay hidden and do not intervene. Understood?
I feel like we're gonna intervene anyway.
What?
Huh?
You there! Halt! You know you shouldn't be here. Explain yourself.
Nah.
Forgive me, sir. I came to deliver the tributum.
Oh, aye. A likely story. Only a fool would dare to come so late. Or, mayhap, a resistance spy.
Late?
No, you've got it all wrong. I was waylaid by bandits. It's not my fault.
I said halt!
Ow. That looked like it hurt.
Is this a joke? You don't seriously expect us to believe this is a fake? How stupid do you think we are?
It is, I swear, on my mother's life.
Spare us. You came late, you lied about bandits, and then you tried to cheat the Empire of its due.
Wow, these guys are dicks.
Think you can kill them all, including the ones watching from the tower? Even if you did, others would come for him and his family. You'd be condemning them all to a life of hard labor, assuming they didn't just execute them, that is.
But it isn't fair.
It's your bloody fault we're stuck out here patrolling this god's-forsaken wasteland. It's your fault I have to listen to people go on and on about how Alan Egan's can't be trusted. I've worked and toiled harder than any man. I'm a citizen, goddammit. And what are you? A stupid, stubborn little dog who'd sooner bite the hand that feeds him and pine for the good old days.
Ah, it's one of those kinds of antagonists.
Lord Xenos is expecting our report.
I bet the poor bastard can't believe his luck. He gets to go home.
JoJo? No, that's not a
We should do
JoJo's
the
reference.
same.
At least I don't think it's a JoJo's reference, I'm gonna be real with you. Ah, excuse me. Nose. She knows we were behind the bridge, I feel. She's like aware that they were being watched or something. Dun, 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 dun. I heard their commander was keen-eyed, but gods, that was a near thing. It tears me up inside to see our own kinsmen doing the bidding of the Viceroy, but they made their choice, and if it comes to it, I'll cut down every last one of them. Yep, so those were Alamesians that were, like, promoted into the service with the Garleans. Next! Rakrata's alive, and the tribune's being paid. That's all that matters for now. I, for one, would rather not wait around to see if the skulls decide to return. We'd best get back to Alagana and tell Ragnfrid his man got the job done. Wouldn't he know that by the fact that, you know, he comes back to them? It's not like he had, like, anything else to do. Immodest mouse. Lol. There ain't nothing mousy about him. So yeah, we've barely explored this. The Magitech is back? I didn't know that was a thing. Alright. Then we have the eager thingy. Ooh. Merchant and Mender. We can get some shit repaired. Nope, that's purchasing items. Actually, no. What we should do is... let's see. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so I've got, like, level 8 stuff. My 5 is okay. Let's go for, like, higher quantities of... So, let's go for... 69. Then we'll go for 2 in there. And then... No, not for the Mark 7. Let's go 2 in here. I've already got 200 gristle greens. No point for the salmon roe. Alright. Now we go to General. And... Is there really nothing to... Okay. There we go. There we go. There's some stuff to repair. What is it with empires and Magitech? It's It's as big and as stable as Sid. Look, I think it's because, like, they themselves aren't, like, explicit users of magic like some of the Eorzeans. And what's more is, technology is one of those fun little things where it, like, whether it's morally good, morally evil, it actually helps people. So, unfortunately, helping people is like morally ambiguous when it comes to technology. The technology is going to help. It doesn't care if you do it, you know, for a good reason or a bad reason. If you use technology, technology helps. Kicking the simp. Boom boom dun dun dun. Bum 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 bum. This way. Yeah, excuse me. Head. This gravity damage reminds me of the gravity of Left 4 Dead. You just fall and you always take, like, almost some part of your life. Yeah, but you don't die. Unless I think you're in the middle of a fight, I think is the only reason you die. We owe you a debt of gratitude for what you did. Warkrata told me everything. How you fought with the Kikurin and saved his life. For all the good it did. We saw what happened when he met with the Skulls. How they beat him half to death. We could have stopped them. I reckon you could. Meffred's a warrior, as is your comrade. And you're strong, like your father. That much is plain. But I think Relegar you did not. But I think Relegar you did not. Because it would not have ended with them. Oh, shit, I forgot the thing. Bones heal, scars fade, but the dead remain dead. We're alive, and that's more than can be said, for only the gods knows how many others. That's enough for you, is it? To put up with whatever they do to you so long as you get to see another day? That's right. You grit your teeth and you learn to live with the pain. I'll admit I was quick to judge you, Liz, but for that I apologize. I know you and yours mean well, I do. But I'm telling you, God's in the heavens as my witness that we've got nothing left to give. We can't help you. I understand. Thank you for your honesty. She may say it, but she doesn't mean it. Nor would I expect her to. Her father was stubborn as an ox too. If she's set on walking the same path, I but pray she won't follow it to the same end. What is Final Fantasy VII's battle music? Actually, no, I don't need to know. Most likely, someone is going to tell me, oh, hey, have you played the Final Fantasy VII Remake yet that is available on the PS5? Hey, have you played the Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Remake that is now available on the PS5? Hey, I recommend this Final Fantasy game you should play. This is like... Well, she took it better than I anticipated. Which isn't saying much, I suppose. We should go and see if she's alright. Grant! Have you played this critically acclaimed MMORPG, Final Fantasy XIV? Grant! Have you played? Alright. Hey, gotta go talk to Liz, who's back over there. With a free trial up to level 60. Yes, exactly. Liz. Sorry about running off like that. Alamegans terrorizing their own. I just can't accept it, you know? No matter what he thinks, they shouldn't have to put up with it. Day after day after day. I'm not completely naive, you know. I didn't expect him to storm a cast room with their pickaxes and shovels or whatever it was. But nor did I expect Warkrata to just lie there in the dirt while they kicked him. I can't claim to know their pain. I barely remember this place or even my father's face. But I remember Ida's. I remember how scared she was when we ran, and that look in her eyes when she talked about home. Her home, but not mine, is it? Also, I heard honking. Who did the honky thingy-majiggies? Oh, hi, Kusaki! That's what the button does. Yes, the himbo cam gives people a presentation of the zitties. I just came up with that, although I probably stole it from Z, most likely, because he probably calls them zitties as well. Desu! There you are, Liz. I've been looking all over for you. Cookie for Z! Here you go, here's your cookie. Cookie gone. Well, you found me. Got something else to say? Aye, that I do. I said some things to you before that I shouldn't have. It wasn't my place to do so, and I'm sorry. All that rubbish I spouted about how I live my village. But when one of ours was in need, I was cowering here with all the others. I didn't even think to go after Wakrata. But you did. Made me feel like the bloody hypocrite that I am. If I truly cared for my people, I'd fight for them. So I will, if you'll have me. You're asking to join the resistance? Well, when you put it like that, I suppose I am? But not just me. There are others I know who've been thinking about it for a while now. There's not many of us, and we're not hardened warriors like you, but if your heart bleeds for Alamigo, then that's good enough for me. You and yours are more than welcome to Ralager's reach. Yay! Thank you, sir. You won't regret this. I'll go and speak with the others and send word when we're ready. Excellent. Yummy. Yeah, Yami, that's how you say it, right? Also, hi, oh wait, no, I already said hi to Kusaki. Do I I still don't have a moderator. Hang on a second. Kusaki desu. There we go, there's a shout out. Still think this isn't your home? No, I was just thinking out loud. Kusaki, good news. Check this shit out. Pants. So, because I could, like, you know, be over, you know, here and then do the zoom. But I like just having the zoom. So, maybe if I did, like, a sound or something, it'd be cool, but yeah. I can do this now. One of the things I need to fix, however, is my streamer bot code, because I've got like 200 and... Hang on a second. 268 quotes in my system. Or at least 260 quotes that have been submitted to my system. And I'm trying to get them sent into my Discord, like into a chat that's called quotes. I've got them just sending as plain text, but I want to send them as like embeddeds instead. And I might have fucked up my C# code, so I need to figure out how to fix that. But yeah, hopefully you have a wonderful evening. How's it going on your side? Happy New Year, by the by. Have you done a stream yet in the new year? I think you may have. I just keep missing out. Handsome zebra face. Yes, just this lovely zebra face as opposed to an IRL face, because IRL, I'm just like, bleh. And with that, my friends, our mission is concluded. Let us return to the Reach. Oh, there was just like a little bit of a lag there. Ding. Awesome.
Quote 1. As a VIP, you should have power.
Yep, and I regret saying that every time. Bum 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 bum. All right, so yeah, we're playing Final Fantasy 14. Because that's like my Saturday nights is Final Fantasy 14, and it's been really great. So, I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to like. I can't think of any like, you know, big discussion topics that I want to get started on. I just don't want to like, you know, play games. Although I also do want to sleep though. There's so many things I want to do. Just eat McDonald's, sleep, catch up on, like, Abbott's Elementary 3D programming. Why is Zeeb so adorable? I don't fucking know. I don't know. I made myself extra himbo and extra muscular because I thought women liked this in their personas, but apparently not. I get so many fucking dudes that are like, dude, nice muscles or nice cock. I was hoping for a lot more chicks to be like, oh man, I've never seen a zebra persona. You look handsome. It's like, fuck's sake. I don't need more dudes going, nice cock to me. First of all, allow me to commend you both on a job well done. Though nothing went according to plan, we nevertheless managed to attract some new recruits, and it was your passion and conviction that moved them to join. Thank you. No, thank you for giving me an opportunity to find out what our people have been through these past 20 years. It's been humbling. And troubling, too. I'd heard about the skulls, but that was the first time I'd seen them in the flesh. I know you say they're the same as any other Imperial soldiers, and maybe that's how I'll have to think of them myself if our paths ever cross on the battlefield. But when? Not if. That day will come, you silly. You can't afford to hesitate when it does. Young, old, conscripted, citizen, Garlean, Alamegian, none of that matters. They've all got their reasons, but they're not better than yours, especially when they're bearing down on you, blade in hand. Saying that, I don't want to kill them any more than you do. If I could convince them to lay down their arms, I would. Sadly, I've never been much of a talker myself, but who knows? Maybe you could be one, Liz. Your father certainly was. God damn it. I got fucking Sky giving me his classic ooh-woo comment. Listen, some dudes are so straight gay. Yeah, I'm so straight. Oh, hi, Akira. Was just chilling on Reddit and you came across a post called Post Shamone. The fuck? Well, nice call. Yeah. Made a himbo zebra, but now he's adorable. Michael Jackson's face photoshopped on Post Malone's face. What? Oh, that would... Share that in the Discord, if you can. Share it in the memes. Right then. I'd best begin preparing for these new recruits, Grant. Let's see. It's been a pleasure. Yay! Mission complete. Dun, 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 dun. 9:04. Okay. It's 9 p.m. Alright, let me swap over Malone's face. Yeah, Post Malone. He's a rapper. Exit game, log out and exit the game. And get the music that was in the background started up again. Alrighty, that is going to be it for tonight's stream. And once again, I have forgotten to update my background because I have had to do a recent render and I'm going to need to adjust my, like, you know, my just chatting window and what have you. Also, arms, stop doing that weird, like, jerky thing. For some reason, when my hand goes here, it's just outside the perception, so it has this moment of, like, just, you know, wigging out, as you can see. So, also, is there no music playing? Oh, no, it's just at the end of one song. So, get this one started instead. There we go. Oh my goodness, things in the... Why is this thing taking so long to load? Damn. Beef jerky? No, not beef jerky. Where was I in my train of thought? Oh, yeah. So, I am... You know what? I think I am going to stream again tomorrow morning, because that's like my usual thing is I'll do a Saturday stream in the evening, and then I'll probably pick up a Sunday morning stream at 10 a.m. because I've got a few things to, like, a few games in my backlog, such as the Kingdom Hearts series. I need to go through more of that. BioShock 2 is one of them, and, you know, anything that sort of crops up that's in my Steam thingy-majiggy. I gotta try and get through them. I'm not gonna go through High on Life because I'm gonna be real with you. It is not a fun game to go through. I know some people like the Rick and Morty-esque humor that the guns give, but I don't know, like dialogue-wise and the story, like the way they talk, even during like, you know, like sort of cutscene-esque moments, like, you know, things that are scripted, I'm not a huge fan of. Plus, I just don't like the fact that, you know, they do the gimmick of like, oh, you can't shoot a kid, and then they let you shoot a kid. But then any other time in the game, it's like, nope, you can't just kill people unless they're like explicitly evil or something. And it's like, fuck's sake, like, just let me be a dick to people, please. You really need to play a lot of games, so take a break. I got a few games I want to play. Plus, there's a number of games that are going to be coming out this year that I also want to play, such as, you know, the new Final Fantasy that's going to be coming out at some point. Dead Space remake, I think there's going to be a new Silent Hill, a new Alone in the Dark. There's a lot of new stuff that's going to be coming out in the next few months. So there's definitely options in terms of new games, and then there's going to be some options in older games. You recommend the Cyber Elite series. It's very fun, educational, since it's based on real things. To a degree. I know in the fourth one you get to kill Hitler, but that's not how Hitler was killed. He wasn't killed by a sniper. Alright, I need to have a look and see who is online, and we're going to see who we can raid. Ooh, okay. It looks like Mega might be online. Let me just... I'm going to go to twitch.tv, because anytime I look at my raid list, it gives me, like, the highest viewed raids, which is like, yeah, that's kind of cool, but I want to have a look and see if there's any, like, you know, sort of smaller names that might be worth it. Ooh. All right, so... Let's see. All right, let's see. How long is Kahlua going to be playing? Okay, so he's playing something called Dinkum, and he talked about oil. All right, we're going to go and raid Kahlua then. It's Kahlua. And our raid message is... All right, so if you're subscribed, you're able to use these emotes. That oil is mine. Alrighty. Here is our raid message. Dinkum is like an Aussie Animal Crossing. Awesome. Our raid message is going to be, I heard oil. That oil is mine. So we're going to use that as our raid message for, you know, dealing with the Kahlua the lion. So we'll pick up on more Kingdom Hearts tomorrow morning. So I'm pretty sure my stream schedule in like the Twitch thingy-majiggy somewhere should mention that, like, you know, 10 a.m. is, like, you know, backlog evening or something or rather. So we'll go and I'll update my schedule for next week as well after that. Otherwise, I want to say thank you everyone who came along to tonight's stream. I really appreciate it. I need to fix my camera, like doing that whole, like, you know, just maybe it's just because it's too high up, just the tiniest bit. Maybe it's just needing to be adjusted like that. All right, there we go. But I'll definitely do like a little bit more chatty in tomorrow morning's stream. Otherwise, I will hopefully see you all next time, and we'll get ready for raiding into Kahlua then. Just remember our raid message. I heard oil. That oil is mine. Bye for now.